Ooh, we are live. We are live. Let me see the comments first of all. People probably coming soon, but yeah, man, podcast. This is your live, your time to shine. Definitely want to like let people bring you in, like, and speak your piece about the misinformation that's held upon our us brothers and sisters. And I've definitely been sharing some of your video links, so I want you to like get into it with that though. You ain't got to go all the way in. You can just do it like how you want to do it. You know what I'm saying about the African American thing. You know,
So basically, it's just like, can you hear me well?
I hear you perfectly.
Bet. Okay, I'm just making sure. Basically, it's just the misinformation of Black and African American actually being the foundation of who you are as a person. Technically, that didn't come into term into the late 16th century. So, as I give you information, people, anyone who is willing to listen, because this elixir is not made for everybody, and I respect that. This is just something to draw you in so we can get further, like deeper into the curiosity of other people, because even though we are all West African as one, we don't all come from the same tribe. So in order for us to make this umbrella, we're going to have to understand each other's differences and why we're different and who compares to who and who is alike by who and who is close to who because of what reasons, and hold this as one big suit and not an individual suit who looks like one.
And dang, that's real deep right there. And like, how is it like us not being educated upon that or aware of that? How is it affecting us in the system as like the system is structured against us? Like the court thing.
Because basically people don't know, well, people will assume that they understand what being racially political classified means. Anybody that was to listen right now and go and Google the terms racial, it would lead automatically back to the term racism. So if you're racially politically classified as something, that means that you're only what they classified you as is three-fourths. That's 75% as a person, right? I mean, if I'm wrong, that's 75%. So you still have a 25% to go to be considered 100% of an equal. They only gave you the 75% because of what your elders did. The other 25% still comes in culturally. You don't get aid like anybody else, like the Asians or anybody like that, because you're not an actual culture. You're just a political stock at the end of the day. You're a $1.5 billion or $1 trillion business with no assets to the funds, literally.
Dang,
Like none.
that you broke it down like that. Whoo wee, that's heavy right there, man. That's heavy. I don't know what to say. Oh, let me see. What time is it? Damn, my watch on the charger. Let me check the time. It's
And like,
like
let me make it clear. It's like it's no disrespect to any form of person. It's like when I say the stuff I say, it's just to get to the point because you have to understand these things. Like I respect pro-blacks, people who don't believe in mixed, like breeding. Like I don't care. The whole mission behind what I'm doing is to show you the purpose of to help you get you where you need to go. It's the other 25%. It's the person who can see the mural while y'all like the fantastic painters. I don't care how good you can paint. As long as I can show you where the strokes go, that's all that matters. I'm just gonna do my one part and keep it moving.
see, and that's why I respect you. It's like you here to like, just do your part and like, help. And it ain't all about like you ain't putting an image on you like, oh look at me. It's like you was trying to get that information out there. So that's how I know you're sincere with this. And you're a bookworm too. So tell people the importance of with the psychology. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one thing that, our brothers and sisters don't have a better understanding of. It's like the mental thing. I let you freestyle
So
there.
So basically, what I would advise people if they wanted to learn what was going on around them, you really need to learn the Western world, the indoctrination. Being under a government is nothing but indoctrination. You would need to learn the alchemy of the words, how they're used, the definitions, the text, and all the formats of that. And how would you be able to understand these when you have to go to colleges or they assume you must learn under a European in order to gain the grasp. And like you have to go through all these years and all they're going to do at the end is be like, all right, you repeated it perfectly. I say you can do it, you can do it. Now people believe you know what you know. When the first people who invented scholarism didn't have a university, they weren't getting degrees. They were just actually sitting down, taking the time to learn these things firsthand. So if you compare yourself to an entrepreneur and you got like a Fortune 500 company and they do too, they're going to tell you, I will outlast you because if your company goes down, I will be starting from where I started at and where I'm starting at every day. It's not to work for the money, it's work for the point of building and crafting and creating. That's all it's about.
That was deep right there. Like how you saying how people repeat it until they feel like they got it. Like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, so I know it, but they don't really have to understand. Like how you said, scholars first, they sat down, they learned something. So that's very more. I think that overrides what we believe is intelligence or education. Instead of us just seeing and copying and paste, we actually thinking for ourselves, like you. Yeah, and that's very deep right there. So, what's the importance of, like, what do you relate like intelligence overall? Yeah.
Intelligence, it'll tell you in psychology, period. Intelligence is something you can't learn. Being educated is something you go to school for. Being smart is something education teaches. The ability to regurgitate information is nothing but being smart. But the ability to be intelligent is sitting down and taking your personal gift or gifts, because there's several different levels or nine different levels of intelligence. And most people come with two, some people come with one, some people come with three. It depends on your character and your nature. If you sit down and harness in on that gift, you'll be able to take your potential past where you need to by society standards. So you wouldn't need the status quo if you humbled yourself and self disciplined really deep and you just focused on that. You just crashed like crash dummy deep in what you know.
That was real deep. I didn't know it was like nine different levels of intelligence and how I gotta. It's like the cross changing everything. You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
Because
I
like,
gave a book to
yeah,
somebody. I'm sorry, I ain't mean to cut you off, but you was like you didn't know. Bro, I gave one of my sight books to somebody and I had all the places highlighted. Bro, they started reading that shit and they was like, bro, they always told you in school that you needed to take an IQ test to know if you was intelligent. I was like, bro, somebody made that shit up in order to make you feel dumb. I was like, no, bro, intelligence is something you're born with. They just make the words sound fancy. That's all.
that's cool. That's real deep right there. So everybody, as you saying, everybody has different types of form of intelligence, and everybody got like a ability that they could like unleash, but due to their
Yeah.
circumstances and society, most don't really tap into it. That's what you saying.
Bro, you just spit some bars. Say the same thing you just said over.
I said that. Oh, let me go back. It was like a flow. But first of all, I said that what you're saying is everybody is born with a talent or ability, but due to their society or their environment, they're unable to tap into it, right?
Yes, bro, and you just explained what happens when you cut a frequency off from its natural like tone and vibration. What they did was put you around the other unstatic frequencies, like well frequencies that were static up, like telephone poles, phones, cell phone frequencies, and it throws you off. It's a distraction. So if you don't have the time to tap into your own frequency, then you just being taught and led by somebody else. You don't have time to dig into that side of you. That's the side of you actually scared of.
That's real deep right there. So what do you think when people, we got six people? I mean, I was like one, but what do you think? We want to ask these people like, I already told people like they got time to do anything, but like if they want to like get tapped into their inner self and like because most of the time we're getting fed with overload information and everything. What do you think they
Oh,
could
that's
do?
a sacrifice. You're gonna have to detach from society, and most people don't want to do that. Most people want the distractions. Most people want they want to be involved. They want to feel like they're involved in something, but like being involved in your purpose. I'm sorry, let me sit you down real quick. But being involved in your purpose, that's like a whole nother meaning. Like that's where you hear your favorite rapper, somebody be like, they don't want to be with you at the times when you by yourself and you putting in all the work. That's when that time comes in. Like nobody's gonna be around you for that. So if you looking to the go through the journey and have people come with you, you might as well get ready to mourn. It doesn't go like that. You're gonna have to isolate yourself and sit there and do this. Nobody's gonna hold your hand. Nobody's gonna walk with you. Nobody's gonna talk to you. No, it's not gonna be like that. Matter of fact, more people are going to separate from you than draw to you at the end of the day.
But that's real deep right there because you're not getting with the program, right?
Facts. So if you're not doing what we doing, then you actually getting right with yourself. That means you can see me. That means all the fucked up stuff I'm doing that you was doing with me, I'm doing it alone, and I know it's not good, so I can't keep doing that in front of you. Now I'm looking like the bad influence instead of you being influenced and doing it with me.
Ooh, see, and that right there causes confusion. You think so? Let's think of it as the street terms within our community. Does that cause envy when people want to like plan to harm that person, or does it cause them to distance them and have a negative opinion about them, or either or?
Well, our community, to be honest with you, our community so intelligent they stupid. I'm just gonna put it out like that. If it's one thing that niggas don't like about me, and I don't even like niggas, it's just the fact that they're the ones who actually lead. They're the ones who firsthand like this. There's a lot of people who call themselves niggas who are mentally like this on an intuitive nature, but they choose to do it the wrong way. They choose to get the bag over it. So they want what do they call it? They want quantity over quality, which instead of taking those people and leading them and helping them sharpen their potential and building you a team of leaders, you want to be the boss, which is control a group of people who can eventually take you out just because they want the position you have.
Dang. So yeah, like you went into you saying that people want that endearment to be used on all the
They want like
baggage, right?
king and queen status. They don't want to share that shit. That's why everybody, like I do this shit myself. They're sending out the frequencies of dividance, and but they're giving the deception to act like you fuck with people at the same time.
That's like out of frequency. Like what does that? That's like a virtual vortex, right? A cycle.
That's like Ayo say. That's calling. It's like summoning death. That's like if you. It's like if you ever ask if you like. That's like asking to go somewhere. You be like, I'm gonna go to this party, but before you get there, you be like, hey, well, how many niggas there? Because if you can tally up more than 2 or 3 niggas, you already it's death already there. Why would I want to go and just participate myself? It's one of those same feelings. So it's like instead of that person being the person who would shoot up the party, it's just like you looking at somebody who really hold themselves in that king stature or queen stature that you call yourself holding you in, but they don't have to talk about it. It radiates off of them. So now you got some envy, and now you want to probably try to smoke them or do something harmful to them.
Who that you broke that down? You broke the psychology of what most of us grow up through, and we had to like with, and then like it's damn near invisible, but it's not. It's like we see it, but we don't understand it, and you just break it down like in that way.
Bro, that's
Dang,
part of
that's
the
it.
playing field. You only got 4 fields when you come out of the hood. You can stay in your lane and go through the phases where most people don't notice you. You could be part of the popular crowd where that shit could cost you. You could be somebody get picked on, or you could be one of them street niggas who just like to fight people. But all those paths have to cross. Eventually, each one of them people gonna have to experience being like each one of those people at some time in life. It's just like Ayo say. It's like everybody want to be that nigga until you find out being the ultimate nigga really don't exist. It's like you
Yeah,
might as well
no,
have for real, you might as well have piped down since a shorty and went ahead and got into your books. That's the true gangster side of yourself. That's the side of yourself that's gonna have to fight just to get to where you need to go. You're not fighting right now. Niggas think they're fighting to get somewhere. No, you're struggling for free. You're struggling for fun. Everything you rap about is struggling. You're struggling for fun. You're partying in the struggle. But reverse that. If you reverse that and everybody was to sit down and we made our own debate teams at Ivy League iron sharpers where we have studies and we go and talk about stuff and made improvements, you will get like stuff like the Black Wall Street bombers and all that again because they will be running inside of there. But what would you do though? That's like they keep asking all the gangsters, what would you do if you really had to use your potential and your streetwise for that? What would you do then?
and I want to say another thing. Why is it that we have this? It's called I want to call analysis paralysis. When like I seen people in the comments like a while back, they'd be like,
Yeah,
rappers got to rap about killing each other. Our people got to rap about killing each other because that's what's going to make them go viral. And I'm like, you can't use that excuse because we could make ourselves go viral. It's like that mind of
right.
thinking that we got to do this to go viral. You know what I'm saying? That's already thinking like in the prison mindset, right?
That's a social engineering vindictive program, and most people don't even believe that they get that. Those type of people who believe they got to do such and such to do such and such, hear people like not. It'd be the opposite of Ayo telling you, well, in order for you to get in the game, you're gonna have to pick a gimmick. When he telling you that's the choice they're gonna give you, there's no other choice at all. But they're telling you, nah, man, you might as well find one of these funny ass lanes to get in and go ahead and do your thing. You might have to mix a little bit of this up with a little bit of this up, but Ayo's already telling them, no, bro, that's just a part of it. They're just influencing you to get involved in it. If you don't do this stuff from the bottom, from the ground up, bro, you know how long it took me to get here? Like, I'm being serious, bro. Like, you can ask people where I'm from, like, they would not listen to shit I would say. But as the time would progress and they started seeing my intuitive nature show through life, they was like, bro, like, oh, like, I'm being fair. I used to get clown. Like, when I say clown, man, people used to try to clown. Bro, I told them some stuff that happened in 2000, well, in 2008 that's happening today. Next thing you know, people are like, bro, how do you know this? I said, you might want to sit down and let your higher self start talking to you along with God. If not, you're going to be a lost nigga out here, and every person that you run into going to mislead you.
That's facts right there. That's dang. So you had got discredited and shunned on for your awareness. and you're into it.
Bro, hard. Hell yeah, hard as freak. Like most people still don't believe I'm like it. It's like most people will watch me and hear me speak like this, but then they'll meet me in person. They'll be like, "Yeah, you on some other stuff." Most people have called me dangerous. Man, I've talked to Ayo personally, bro. He has told me himself, I wouldn't want to be that logical. I wouldn't. It has to be scary. It can't be fun. He literally said that shit can't be fun.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It doesn't sound like it. So I was like, sometimes I have to sit back and reflect. Sometimes I do get bored real quickly, but at the end of the day, it's like I'm not bored. It's just I get real anxious of knowing the people that are around me and the people that look like me, the people who call themselves kings and queens, created from the Most High. You have parts to be doing, but you're doing it backwards. You're setting yourself up for failure by playing it in a political turn when the same people have been running the scoreboard up for 400 years and nothing's changed politically. I don't care who switches sides in the party. You're still not getting nowhere. You're still labeled as a color, and you're still wondering why you're not being treated as a human. They're not gonna tell you.
And what about these small rewards that are given by the people within the system who create the system? How explain how they're psychologically manipulating the masses of our people? Like, just little, like you had a job and you complain about something and they give you like a little reward to make you be all right for like the next 2 years, and you complain again, they drop a little something. You get what I'm saying? What's that called?
Oh, that's just nothing but getting along with the customer. They got this documentary back in the day. This was a long time ago. It's called "Selling to the Negro," and I think people should go watch it. That's all I'm gonna say. It's called "Selling to the Negro." And that's all I'm gonna say. Go research it on YouTube. But nowadays, in modern times, they'll tell you if you be violent, your reward is money. So in our times and in our youth and in our people, they'll show them on TV money, cars, clothes, hoes. But nowadays, it's just hoes and guns equals money now. So they're not getting the in betweens. They're not hearing about the court dates. They're not hearing about the things that's happening to these people, family members, until the last minute. But they're already involved in some shit themselves in their personal lives. That's why you have these shootings going on with these young boys in Chicago, and that shit's not gonna end. They right on the buildings looking for sacrifices, literally.
That's facts. And the thing I want to say, I had definitely saw that. I think that's the link MoFax brought in, but I saw that selling to the Negro thing, and I want to tell you that it was like social engineering that they was giving free game on people to how to, sell to us people, making them feel good
Yeah,
because saying that from our past we wasn't able to get on brand stuff, or just talking to them like, oh, this will look nice on you, sir, and all that. It's get real deep.
facts.
Copy and paste this, but go ahead, brother.
So I was just saying facts. Like when I say things, I like when people hear the words that I speak clearly and go behind me and research. Just like you was like, yeah, I've heard of that. So anything that I'm going to tell somebody, I don't speak unless I have the experience or been around somebody who spoke from a different experience. I'm nothing but a bridge. A native African and a European child who's lived around racist people, who lived around African, who lived around black, white, native, and I've heard them speak from all dialogues, and it's nothing but people who wonder why a certain group of people act a certain way. And if we can get everybody just to sit down and have meaning, that's what the United States is missing, is meaning. The meaning of listening, the meaning of understanding, the meaning of saying, okay, I respect that. As long as you don't harm me, I won't harm you. There was actually an era where we lived like that, and most people won't believe it existed. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. See, that was very deep right there. Like people feeling in the chats too. Hey y'all, what's up, Mo
Like
Facts?
I'm being for real. Like on Mud Podcast, like black people better be ready because there are white people gonna come in and say nigga wholeheartedly. And if you have a problem with that, you need to understand that the word nigga was created as a character to get you to hook onto that they created and conjured up from a negative connotation. So they have every right to call you a nigga if you keep claiming their product. They created the black person from stripping you of your identity and giving you a label. Matter of fact, the Spanish called you Negro, so I don't even get why black people hate being called Negro. It is the same thing. And you also disrespect yourself when you call yourself black because you're calling yourself colored in a modern time. So you keep abusing yourself daily and wonder why you cannot beat this inevitable matrix of colorism. That's all you're doing.
Okay, appreciate that. Yeah, Bobby Cash. This is the brother uh Battle Dawn right here. Both of y'all like on the same frequency, and this is his book I've been, pushing. It's called
That's
the An Introduction to the Art and Science of Worldly
yeah.
Warfare. Bro, I'm telling you, bro, get it, dog, get it. Y'all get it. I dropped the link for y'all to
Bet.
get it. Y'all need to get this book. What's up with you, my brother? Real quick, I'm done.
I appreciate that shout out, Grump. Yeah, y'all. Hey, Grump got them beats too. I just recently found out about Grump beats. Grump beats fire. Got a lot of different applications with those. But yeah, what's up, Bobby Cash? Yeah, I was
How you
listening.
doing, my guy?
All right, brother. So I was listening to what you were saying, and I was just wanting to know. I don't know how comfortable you might feel talking about it, but what are some of the experiences you had? Like when you talk about the higher self, what is the higher self, and what kind of experiences have you had that
Bro, let me just keep it simple. I'm gonna answer that question. Have you ever taken the EOGs when you were in middle school?
the what now?
Have you ever taken like end of grade tests when you were in middle school?
Okay,
Bro, every year I'll be the first person in the school done within 10 minutes. Ain't ever failed a grade a day of my life.
okay, I got you. So any kind of like spiritual kind of experiences though.
That's an intuitive nature is the intuitive nature is a spiritual experience. It's the ability to know things without having to read anything.
Okay, so that's how you get most of your knowledge or all of it. What
That's
what kind of
60%.
ideas? Who were you inspired by? What kind of writers do you like follow?
Well, honestly, I'm gonna tell y'all the things that sparked me as a child. First thing I heard, I was born to die. Second thing I heard, I was created in the image of the person who like founded my whole body and spirit and all things of that nature. So when I heard those two things and the way my mind was set up already, I just took off with learning. And then on top of that, as I learned it, you don't have to actually ask questions. Anything you think or want to know is inside of a book. Like what else was there left to actually do, just to sit down and follow my brain? Like your DNA, like when you hear people like young Pharaoh consciously and people stuff like that tell you your DNA will speak for itself. If you detox your body and become what you call bored and let your mind get real hungry, your body will tell you who you are. Like literally, everybody has an intelligence. And I don't knock nobody. I don't care how soft your intelligence is or how strong it is. Everybody has to sharpen it. Most people have heard the phrase, you're too smart for your own good. Those are the people who have a naturally intuitive nature in life and they just didn't know how to handle it. So as I speak, I am nothing but a reflection from the two people on the side of me right now because of the basis of like the stages and journey they're going through in their life. I am no better than the next person. If I am no better than the next person, let me say that twice because I need to. That's why I took a pause. So as you ask me questions, you're actually making me smarter because an intellectual person is just nothing but a person who is curious. So you're actually the wise person. You're just making me think. That's all you're doing.
Yeah, brother. So yeah, like give me some names of some authors that I might recognize or something like that. Cause I'm kind of as you speak, I just want to see where you coming from.
Bro, I'm being honest with you. There's no authors. Like I'm not even lying. If I could put my mother on this video chat, bro, half the shit I could tell y'all would not believe. Like I'm being serious. Like there's stories I could tell you about. I remember stuff from when I was 3 years old, bro. Like that the shit I could tell you, you would not believe. Like I'm being dead serious. Like when y'all hear stuff like this or read stories about people who live like this, that shit's not fake. Like that shit's not fake at all. None of this shit is fake. Like everybody has a higher intuitive self. Like it's just not made for people who can speak like this. And this is called the gift of gab. This is all this is. I have no veil and I can speak like this. I can give you wisdom or I can mislead you. I have two streets to take. And I've just chosen not to mislead people. That's it.
Okay, I see what you're saying now because the thing about memories at a very early age, that's something that most people don't have. I do also, and so I found it. I didn't know that it was a strange thing, and I found that it was something that's not common. So okay, I see where you're coming from now. So all right, I yeah, I just wanted to see where you was coming from. That's all.
But nah, you good. You can ask any questions you want. I can give you references to people I've listened to who's kept my mind in order. Like I was born in '91, so in that year I had a Tribe Called Quest. I would listen to people like Bobby Digital, the RZA, because he was writing stuff at the time. Like this was when Wu Tang and them was fresh. Like anything out of the Allspark or the era you was created in, the most predominant people for our culture is who you should listen to. Those are the only people who are going to be able to tap your Allspark because that's the energy you're created from.
This spark. What would you say this spark was?
Your Allspark. Anybody created in the years from 90 to like what the early 80s and stuff like that. If you want to know what your energy consists of, just listen to anything powerful from that year. Anybody from my culture that year that was powerful is part of your energy. Literally, that's all it is. Most people just didn't listen. Like they say, you were supposed to listen growing up. Well, you got to go back and repeat school again. Somebody missed the rudimentary part.
Okay, so yeah, that one term right there. So if I was to type in Google, how would I spell that? It would be other people saying basically the same thing you saying, right? With that term?
What do you? What intuitive?
No, that term
The
spark.
all spark, yeah. Like if you listen to music like a Tribe Called Quest or like listen to people like that, they always rapped about in those times. We're speaking for the all spark this, all spark that. Like I'm a wordsworth. I like words at that. At the end of the day too. So every time I would think or want to read something deeply or be nerdy, I would refer to music like that, and I was raised around intellectual music like that as well. So that resonated with me deeply.
Okay, so it's all ALL then spark.
Yeah, all spark. It's a lot of
Okay.
ways. It depends on what religion you looking it up too, because certain religions, certain spiritualities, they spell it different. That's why I say you got to find your frequency and you got to learn on your pattern. I can't do that. I'll be misleading you. I would be telling you to follow what I do and do it as I do.
Okay, that's perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for because
You
with
was
the
looking
all
for
spark,
it.
huh?
I
Was that
said, I
brother?
saw you was looking for it, but you got
Yeah, man. It's like so when you say all spark, I'm thinking about in my book, I lay out a theory of worldview warfare. All
Yeah,
right. And so in that theory, you got psychological warfare, you got social engineering, you got spiritual warfare.
yeah.
So at the level, the all spark would be at the level of the collective conscious. And so
Facts.
this is what sociologists will refer to as the thing that's in at that time. And it's localized and it's global at the same time. So each
Yeah,
region on the East Coast, they're gonna have their thing. On the
facts.
South, gonna have their thing, the West Coast. And then it's also going to be a thing at the global level. And so that would
The
be like Bitcoin, things like that.
No, right now, our all spark for this global level is the pandemic of spiritual natures you're seeing being shifted around. All the things that people are doing, like fluid genders and etc., that's our all spark to change. Everything that's going on now, we have the remedies to fix that, but this new era don't want to get with the program because they're being misled. They're being raised by grown people, not adults, actually. So we still have parents who are born in the late 80s and early 90s who are raising children with that same mentality they was when they had a child, which is 15 to 16.
Okay, so that then will fall into what I refer to, and not just me, but is referred to as the collective unconscious. So
Facts.
yeah, that's the two levels. The collective unconscious is swayed more by the spiritual influences in our on the natural realm. The
Yeah.
collective conscious is social, the people between people. It ain't got nothing to do so
Political.
much with the spiritual aspect.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So I'm able to see where you coming from.
But on this level we speaking on, if we was to take this amongst the stature of people and everybody wasn't on this collective together, they would dismiss us real quickly because the Western European indoctrination's language is taken very seriously. That's why they make you have lawyers before you present yourself in front of a judge or something. So until everybody can get on the collective of knowing that they have a higher conscience, they're not going to take black people seriously at all. And I don't even have to sign up as that shit. Like I can literally pull out my ID, my race says nothing on it, like literally.
it.
So I would need for them to understand in order for you to quit getting killed or whatever y'all want to call this horror time in your life period right now, you're going to have to learn the alchemy of the indoctrination you're under. That's going to have the wordplay, how it affects you spiritually, how it affects you physically, how it labels you, how it products you, how it ships you. It's like a whole, it's a business. That's why you're worth 1.5 million or 1.5 billion, and you don't get it. None of them get it.
Yeah, I can agree from what I've studied. I can agree with what you said as far as there's definitely a manipulation of the knowledge, understanding going from like the education system. I just interviewed a guy from up north, John Coleman. He's working on a educational kind of co-op thing where they train people to be learners and to be independent. He was talking about the way the system that they train where the people are owners and they basically hire a manager, which is a boss. It's based off
Yeah,
of ancient European system going back to the time of the nuns and the monasteries and things like that. And so that's what they were controlling their the means and everything. So yeah,
yeah,
but at the same time, they do understand people in certain positions of power. They write about what's going on. And so in my book, I cite works from the 50s, like I was telling uh young Grump and everybody. And appreciate that, young Grump, bro, for shouting the book out for me, man. I appreciate that. But yeah,
no
from
problem.
the 50s, talking about splitting the human mind, training soldiers to have one aspect of their mind have a whole life. They got special forces training in this side of their mind, and then the front personality don't know nothing. Just all they know is they joined the military and they just
Fact.
doing some little job. And
Like
so,
alter egos.
yeah, this was in the 50s.
Fact.
When nobody talking about that in the 50s, but they were writing about it. So it's like, yeah, it's definitely certain people are exposed to certain knowledge and the masses are fed a certain thing. I agree with you. Now, as far as like what that means, now, you know what I'm saying, we might disagree on that.
But I'm gonna tell you one thing about myself. One thing I find that most people don't see as creepy is the fact that you don't most black people don't understand you're still speaking another language, you're still living under another fashion, you're still thinking like somebody else. Everything that you're imitating today is nothing originally from yourself. So I don't get how people can wake up in the morning and be like, I'm black, and knowing blackface is what created the black character, period. Like, how can you say you feel full and enriched and you walk around still, not even oppressed, you're still owned? That's what I'm gonna call this shit. I'm gonna be honest with you. Because if you can't break out of this colorism matrix that you're in, if you can still say black, African American, this and that, if you can't see that there's a matrix called government, it's called political language, and you cannot get an untie from it, then you're not going anywhere. And I'm really gonna quit like speaking on stuff like this because I will be wasting my breath telling a group of people that they have the power to do something. You just have to quit being involved in something you think is going to help you. Like your book, I had the link to that. That's lovely. And I feel like you spent a lot of time telling people these things over and over and over. At the end of the day, bro, you're gonna have to leave the niggas behind like Harriet Tubman did and go with your elixir of a few thousand or a few 100,000 and just do your thing. Like literally.
Oh yeah, man. Like I think part of the problem, bro, is that the racial superiority theory, that's how I lay it out. And that's what's used to be controlled, or that's a means of control. It's a technology. So just preparing for this live, this chat, I refreshed my memory on a source that I quoted or cited in the book. See if y'all can see that. Uh the one Battle Laura, birth
Yeah, you know.
birth of the invention of white people. Okay. So she talked about the early 1600s. They got black people, they got native people, not just a few, mostly white British men. All right. The populations grew. By 1650, black people was marrying white Native Americans. She talked about a county in Virginia where 50% of the brothers was married to
Hold on,
white
did she
women.
Did she label them in the book white Native Americans? Like, did it say it like just like that?
The way she said was
That's crazy. I'm sorry.
African,
Go ahead.
African, natives, and white. We got these three groups.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, the point was all these people were living together. So the first 75 years of American history, it was the racial kind of melting pot that we're fighting for today. The mindset of not being labeled by whiteness and blackness that was in those people at that time. Then, after Bacon's Rebellion, where blacks, whites, and natives got together and fought against the 1%, the landowners. This story has just been played a time and time again. The law is what created whiteness. The law started by saying white women cannot marry black slaves.
Right.
Then, after Bacon's Rebellion, it expanded to guns and court. Blacks and no others could, all non-whites, uh, no non-white could testify against a black, a white, I'm sorry. And also with guns, white men were given guns. It was it was written into the pay for them. After they get out of their indentured servitude, they get a gun. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So we see from the very beginning of the country, this has been the means of control. It's what the rulers decided on as a way to control their population. Racial superiority theories. It's hurt a lot of people on both sides. Nobody's winning. All we doing is fighting the same old battles over and over again. Plus, it's like at a cultic level at this point because there's so much blood behind it, and you got in
Right.
that, especially small neighborhoods in the South or wherever, you got black people and white people fighting with each other, hating each other, and they kin to each other, literally, because of slavery. Distant cousins don't even know they kin to one another, hate each other's goods.
Hey, I hate to cut you off one more again. I still don't grasp the fact. How do people call themselves colors? I mean, somebody please explain that. I'm being for real. Since a child, please explain to me why is it logical, or how is it even logical to believe you're black or you're white? And like, I'm being dead ass. Somebody explain this to me. I don't care if it's in the comment section. I need this explained to me from somebody who actually believes in this fashion.
Okay, I'll tell you how. We see an example of it. That's a perfect question too. We seen an example of it with this mask mandate, the changes we went through with COVID. Before, things were moving a certain way. Then, with law, things started moving a different way, very fast. That's exactly what happened in the 1600s in America. The law came down from Britain, and the elites here agreed with it that we gotta put an end to black men dealing with white women. All right. Then there was teeth behind it. Just like here, you can't go into that store if you don't have that mask on. But no, this is my right. No, you going to jail now because now you're getting belligerent. Okay. They had teeth behind it. If a white woman was found to be pregnant with a slave's seed, she would be in slavery for 20 years, indentured servitude. No, she would be in indentured servitude until the black man died, and the kids would be slaves or indentured service for 20 years. So they put teeth behind this imaginary thing. That's how they do it. And no, it's not rational. But if you have the power as a ruler with that response, that's why it's a great responsibility. That's why rulers are judged more harshly because they can come up with something stupid in their mind, pass it along to the people, and hurt the people.
Yeah,
And that's
that's what I'm
exactly what they
asking.
did.
But that's what I'm asking. How do people grasp this concept but still eat it? I know they say like after you do certain like something for a certain amount of time, you get into a habit of it. But if you know that there's something wrong, finally, how do you wake up every day and still keep the narrative going? Like, how do you say, well, I need money over correcting the narrative? Like, how I don't know if I'm asking this correctly or
Mhm.
not, but I've always wanted to know, like, how do people wake up knowing that there is a big problem that needs to be fixed, but it's money over the issue?
I
I
mean,
know.
yeah, that's a. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I say one thing. I believe because it's the path of least resistance. I had read that from a book by Robert Fritz about how people know what they need to do and what's right and what's wrong, but they just still take the path of least resistance, the burden. That's just my opinion. What?
No, you're right, but at the same time, then people need to admit that they're stupid at the same time, because you walk around and say that they're kings, queens. I'm a white supremacist. I'm a white knight, and they I can't even get it out. They swear they got the knowledge, but they don't live and apply it as they say that they do or talk it as they do. Like, bro, do you know how much I avoid conversation with people due to the fact that they can start their sentence off with 3 words and I don't know it'll take me down here with so much misunderstanding. Literally, and I cannot stand it.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say, brother, is that when it comes to survival, especially like when a brother got some kids and a family, yeah, it's a lot people will put up with just to make sure that them and theirs are gonna be straight. It's me myself. I don't know about you as a single guy. Yeah, I see a lot of things like with no kids. I see a lot of things that's like, man, I wouldn't put my kids in that kind of situation or this or that. But because
Hold
I'm
on,
at
but you
the,
got to think about it though. Hold on, you got to think about it. If they keep going on with the narrative, how's things going to change for the younger you? They're already saying by 2025, black people are going to be the literally the homeless population on this planet. Andrew Yang said it in America. By 2025, if shit doesn't change for them and they keep saying they're getting it back and they're really not, they're going to be the homeless population. That shit is not a joke. So if they could keep getting up every day and forcing themselves to go with the narrative, but that narrative is actually not being healthy for the people that they're leaving here on this planet.
All right. So peace to the panel. Peace Don. Peace Bobby. Peace
What's
Grump.
up with you?
What up?
Hey
peace,
Bobby,
bro.
can you ask that question one more time? Because I think I have an explanation or at least my perspective on it.
No, you could go ahead and answer because I don't like to say stuff twice because I sound rude because I think I sounded low the first time. So if whatever you wanted to say, go ahead and say it.
I
I
think
don't
I
want to
think you were
sound rude or
saying
not
how.
like that.
I just want to make sure I understood it correctly. What you're saying is how can people identify as black or as colors? Is that
Oh
what the
yeah,
premise?
you talking about beforehand? I thought you were talking about going along with the narrative. That's why I didn't want to, saying which one you was talking about. But yeah,
Yeah,
how do
about the
y'all
black.
actually? Yeah, how do y'all actually believe that you're black? And like, how do you believe that? Who like how do you grasp that? Who told you that? Like, who
Well, I
told
don't
you
think
like
it's
God created you as a black person? Because God
well. I
never
don't think it's
created
what
you as a black person.
I don't think it's that we believe that we're actually the color black. Because I mean, obviously, you can look at us and black can span from a very light skin color to a very dark skin color, and that could be classified as black. I think it's that when they
But
created
what is
white,
black then?
okay, white black is nothing but the opposite of white. That's it. That's all. That's why it's
So
not
how
that
is
has
there a
that.
black people?
Okay, they look at it as black. Is I'm not explaining it. I'm just saying I'm not a
Yeah,
I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just explaining how I think people accept this to be. So if you look
but
at white people, quote unquote white people, which are not white, literally are not white, and white people used to mean white Anglo-Saxon, but then they started including the Italians and the Irish and everything later. When they say white, what that means actually is free or the oppressor. So if you're not the oppressor, then you're the oppressed and you identify as colored or black. You see what I'm saying? It's just a juxtaposition from one status in society compared to the other status in society. So that's why now, if you notice, they're trying to combine all the colors into this term called colored people or people of color, because what they're doing is saying white and then everybody else. So it
but
has nothing to do with our pigmentation in our skin, but more of our status in society given by law, as Don pointed out. So they came up with the one drop rule saying if you have one drop of black blood or 1/3, if one of, I think it's 1/32nd, which would be if one of your great grandparents was black, you're black.
Mhm.
So that means if you have one of your great grandparents are a oppressed, then you are oppressed by nature. And the reason why they did this was protect. You have to understand how America was created. America was created to be the safe haven for white people of the world.
True.
And I'm not saying this. Abraham Lincoln said this, and everybody looks at Abraham Lincoln as our great emancipator, but he
Facts.
emancipated black people to ship us out of here because they wanted to maintain America as the great white nation. So
Facts.
it's not about color. So I guess when people say they're black, what they're really identifying and saying is, I'm not of the oppressor. But if you do
Oh,
that, I understand your trick. I understand it, Bobby. I know what you're saying. Then you're automatically volunteering to say you are the oppressed. So
facts. And then on top of that, like they're going back, like they don't get how history is repeating itself. Joe Biden just said the other day the southern states are starting to literally go back in the Jim Crow era. If they change that language once again and go back to people of color and the way they're treating you, and then in the down south regions, you're not even considered black or a male. You're just a nigga straightforward. Y'all niggas are in slavery again. It is over. It's another 100 years on the scoreboard, literally.
and
I mean, literally.
that's why I didn't like that word game when they start calling us people of color again, because that just denoted to me that you're calling me a colored person. You know what I'm saying? You just took the ED off and switched it for OF, and just switched the words around. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm colored again, which that just says my status that I would never be white, which in this country, white only means that you have the full gambit of rights that this nation guarantees to you. It has nothing to do with pigmentation. Because if you
Hey, not
look at
even
it,
that. I'm sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. My fault. Go ahead.
No, 'cause I just want to point out the picture. Now, say if you have 3 black grandparents and 1 white grandparent, you identified as black, right? But if you have
Yeah.
1 black grandparent and 3 white grandparents, you're still black. How does that make sense? Make it make sense. But what they're saying is if
True.
you've been sullied and you're of oppressed lineage, then you're automatically going to be oppressed. And what we do is we want to separate ourselves from the oppressor, and we go right into their trap. And me and Grunt was having this conversation. In chess, it's not about the piece moving your pieces, it's about getting your opponent to move the pieces where you want them to go. And they want us to be oppressed, so they create white and black. And it's like, okay, we're white, so you have to be black. And we
Hey, let
feed
me
into
take
that.
something else that they're not catching on to. They only eat 3/4 of a person, which is 75%. They still have another 25% to go before they're even considered 100% of anything, period. So the work that they're putting in now is reverse work because they're doing the same thing that the last people did just to get them to where they are now. That's
But
all
I
they're
don't
doing.
but I don't fault the white man for what he's doing, because this is how you maintain
Hell no.
rulership. So I
I'm gonna be
mean,
honest with you. Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't blame them at all because at the end of the day, outside of what man says, this is all free game down here on Earth. You
Yeah,
don't. You're being enforced to. Like you're being enforced. People don't know what alchemy of Western European language is. They have law enforcement. That means that my gang is so big. If you don't listen to the shit that I said, that I'm gonna beat you up and lock you somewhere where I can keep count on you and make bank off of you at the same time. Like nobody has to listen to these rules. It's just about how to know how to stay away from them and get around them. That's all it is.
yeah. When it comes to the law, is I mean that's the key. Really, when I look at
Mm,
just tying up
the
with
law,
what you said, what Mofax said, it's like really this is like a spell. If you can imagine a spell being cast, it's just enforced by law because it is
but let me ask
really
y'all a
kind
question
of
though. Who's y'all? Let me ask you a question. Who's your God now, man or the actual person who created you? Because if man tell your ass to jump, you gonna say how high. I've not ever been a part. I've not ever since I've been a child. I've not ever been a person to respect shit like that. Like these people have a monopoly on God's natural order. Do y'all know how bad they're fucking up? And then participating alone. Do you know what you're doing to your spirit? I don't want no parts of that shit.
You
I
going
don't.
out.
Let me respond. Can I respond to Bobby right quick? That's
Go
why
Go
I
ahead.
correct. I don't know what your belief system is, but you know what I'm saying. I subscribe to the teachings of the Bible, right? And then it
Yeah.
says, be in the world, but not of the world. Now we have to be in the world, right? But we don't
Mm-hmm.
have to live our lives by the expectations of the world. You know what I'm saying? And being a
Oh,
worldly things. You know what I'm saying? So when I deal with you, I'm
but
going to deal with
the
you as a
black
righteous.
culture, but the
Yeah,
black
go ahead.
culture is of the worldly things.
Yes,
So
I agree.
until they start being in their until they start being their spiritual self, until they start being beings and not humans, which
Mhm.
the God tells you learn to separate flesh from spirit. When you get down here to this earth, your spirit is learn how to be human. So do not attach to any of the distractions that are of this world, like you just said. Right now, they're running the scoreboard up on themselves because they became human and forgot who they were spiritually. And when I say spiritually, it's not to rise you on no king and queen shit. No, you have a real purpose, like you said. Right now, you're becoming of the world that you're supposed to help keep safe. So when you go back home, we'll have a better home for people who are in the first place.
Well, that's because we look at the oppressor, and when I say oppressor, I don't mean the common everyday white man. I mean the 1% and the ruling class. When we look at
Yeah.
them and say, okay, that's what you have to do to be have a, you're saying what they perceive as being ruling class, then we emulate what they show us, and we think that's the true path to freedom. And when the true path to freedom is really, like you said, conquering your flesh and conquering the desires of your flesh. And when you do that, then you become truly free. But they look at that as like, well, with the monetary gain, what are the fruits do you show of that? So I'll just say this is it's a very interesting conversation but you got to realize our people suffer from severely from
Hold on.
self-esteem
I'm at
issues.
Nah, fuck that. I got to cut this one short, and this one niggas not gonna like me. How the fuck y'all walk? How do niggas walk around so gangster but got self esteem issues? What the fuck? This ain't high school. What's going on? Like,
Oh
But
how
man.
are
they
you?
hold
How?
on, but
No,
they're still,
American black. No,
yeah.
American was considered black in America leads everybody else who look like us in this thing we call life. How are you the number one in this galaxy, but you can't be the number one on this planet?
Because that's the low self-esteem issue, and
But
that's a
okay,
real,
then
we can't poo-poo it as it doesn't exist, because
yeah,
it's
you
like it's not.
can. Yeah, you can. You could put this every you could tomorrow if anybody wanted to with the self discipline, knowing who they were and seeing how these people are telling you who they are while they're dropping you left and right like flies or shit turds, you can wake up the next morning and be like, all right, as a collective, I need to spread this vibe to the next person. I need to give it to this brother, this sister, this brother, this sister. And if it stops somewhere with some negativity, all right, that's God telling me I got work to put in and an intuitive nature. So I need to get this brother on the same page as me because we got a bigger enemy at the end of the
well,
day.
well,
That's
well,
what we're
Bobby.
sitting here to do.
Well, Bobby, I think me and you are agreeing, but we have to talk about. See, that's the thing. Like when we having a conversation amongst ourselves, we understand, but the average black person doesn't understand, because what they're doing is trying to live up to the expectations set for them by the society to be black.
True,
It's like me and
true.
Grunt was having a conversation. As a black man, if you say you don't eat chicken, people will lose their mind. It's like, how don't you eat chicken? And
Oh
it's
yeah.
like, hold on, I don't like chicken. It's like, but niggas eat chicken. What do you mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, or if you say you don't
True.
like rap music, it's like you have to explain to somebody for an hour why you don't like rap music, because it's like how they'll say to us, me and you, Bobby, and people that are enlightened, they say, who gives you the audacity to be free and think different from the group?
Well, let me tell you what I tell them. Man, I've been getting in fights with this since I was a child. I'm like, I'm created in the Most High image, and at the end of the day, it's God's word over anywhere. And if you want to bang, we can take it there.
And
And I mean
I
it
know,
straight like that.
and I totally completely agree with you. But when the fear is being ostracized from the group, that's why words like coon hurts us so bad. Or when they say they're going to take your black card, because when we had to lean upon each other, and that's the only thing we had, when you're considered an outcast, the white
Yeah,
people don't want you, the black people don't want you. Where do you go? So it's like you have to maintain, to be honest, and this is what W.E.B. Du Bois was talking about, the double consciousness of a Negro. You see
yeah,
yourself not only as a black person, but as how white people perceive you. And it's this double calculation that's going on in your mind of how do black people see me, how do white people see me? You know what I'm saying? Then who am I truly myself? And that, I think this leads into your intuitive nature. that a lot of times we know what the right thing is, but then we have to go through all these different calculations to get back to what the first thought you had was
True.
the correct thought. So
Question. How?
it's
Question. How?
go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off. You saying something very factual, but how can I help? Because the way I speak, I know it's going to offend some of our people. How can I better as a person come off on what I should be saying, like I'm saying now, to help them understand, to kill the nigga in the black person and the African American, because your subconscious needs you. Your higher self actually needs you. Your mother, your father, the Most High needs you. And it's not on no shit to tell you you're going to grow some superpowers. It's on some you can actually change the world if you was to tap into your frequency. But you first need to understand what you're stuck under, what you're cursed under, what your flesh is bound by indoctrination. Better how do I better explain that to the people who are
Okay.
considered my race?
Well, I know Grump know what I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna say anything. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. So that's like if you went
Oh,
to a foreign country, you would have to learn their language before you could even learn to know how to communicate with them. If you just came and started speaking
but
English
nigga,
to
hold
them,
on.
you're okay.
But niggas are contradictory though. So I'm speaking how I'm should, but when I start saying I'm not black and I can prove it, that's like I did on Ayo's live, bro. They was wanting to chop my head off for no reason.
They want
So
to
Because
I'm
you lost
crucify
speaking
your
to
ass.
you lost them. You lost them when you said I'm not black. Like and they say, who is this
I'm
nigga to think
not.
he? I
I'm
know this.
not. Like, bro,
Listen,
you know what's
listen.
crazy?
I
Go
know
ahead. I'm
this,
sorry.
you know this. But what I'm saying is when you say to an average black person to say, I am not black, everything after that, you lost them. That's
You a
like you
bitch.
say,
But
I'm not human. It's like you say,
I'm
if I
not.
say, you know what, Bobby, I'm not human, but you're gonna be stuck on he said he's not human. Like what like, hold on. Go screw everything else you just said, bro. You just said you're not human.
Hold on one
But at the
second.
end of the day, hold on. That's where that
Right.
contradictory come in at. We're known for being naturally spiritual beings, so I am living what I'm supposed to be. So I'm not human. This is a temporary realm. I was sent down here in this melanated flesh that computes to a frequency to help other people who are supposed to be taken back home on the journey we are supposed to be living. So if it's not God's word, which is God, I don't give a fuck. I'm supposed to be learning it and learning how to use it. So are these niggas actually gonna buckle up in the flesh that they're granted and gifted with, or are they gonna continue to walk lost until they find their way home, which could
Okay.
probably be never?
I'm gonna give you an example of what I'm saying. When
All
Christ
right.
came and walked this earth, he hit them with parables because he was like, you know what? If I start talking on some scripture, they're not going to get it. So he had to break it down to them in parables. But those parables are multi-layered, but depending on the level of understanding. So he was like, okay, if this seed falls by this way, it'll grow this way. If this seed falls this way, it'll die. So he was like, I got to speak to them in a language where they can understand. And it was the same people that he was trying to teach that end up choosing death for him because they offered up Barabbas and they said, do you want Barabbas or Christ? They said, give us Barabbas. So it's like, you're not going to be able to reach everybody. In the book, it said it's only going to be a remnant of us that survive. So you have to keep that in mind as well. And at the same time, it's like you have to speak in a language and when you come out, not you, because I understand what you because I
Yeah.
don't think we're black either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Honestly, our identity is one of the biggest things that we can find out to break this curse. But when you say you're not black, that's like you saying, like I said, I'm not human. And once you say that, you've lost them at every other turn. It's like, hold on, they get stuck, especially when our whole identity, so-called as black people in this country, is based off of our skin color and us being black. It's like we're black first. And that's what we're running into now. That with men, they want us to identify as black first, then men. It's like, no, 90% of who I am is made up by my masculinity and my manhood. So, I think man first, then black second. And I know when I say that, I lose a lot of people. They're like, hold on, how could you put man first and then not black? You know what I'm saying? And if you truly want to reach them, which we
It's
do,
sad.
it's like you have to realize you're dealing with a person that is under a spell, who is under mind control. So that's like if I try to wake you up, Bobby, and you sleep, if I shake you too hard, the first thing you're gonna do is reach out and try to kill me because you don't know what's going on. You like, hold on, I'm in a sleep state, and you trying to wake me up fast. So it's like you got to kind of shake him, like, hey, Bobby, wake up. Hey, Bobby, wake up. But if you come in there with a pot and pan and like jump on him, he gonna jump back on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell going on here? You know what I'm saying? It could be your wife, a loved one, anybody. You gonna yoke them up until you realize, oh, okay, I'm awake. You know what I'm saying? So I would just share that, because our people are some of the most manipulated, mind control people ever seen in throughout history, and we got to keep that in mind when we talk to them.
Yeah, jumping on that identity aspect that Mo Fax brought up. We could look at our ancestors. Just go back 100 years or less than that, and we can see the signs of the brothers in Birmingham. I think it was holding up the signs, "I am a man." They were not saying that I'm a black man. They were saying they were a man, period. So where did they get their identity from after being told that they were nothing? The strongest Christian tradition we have in the country for many years was in the black community.
Hey,
Where did they get their identity from? So they got an identity shrink from somewhere, and they used that in the system that was more cruel than the system we're in now, and it worked for them. So I think the answer is there.
Let me tell you what I've been using since I got to this planet. They told me I was created in his image, and bitch, if you disrespect it, we going at it. That's how I feel since I was a child. So you can't tell me I'm black. If I'm created in the Most High's image, that means you disrespecting God. So we gonna have to throw them hands at the end of the day, because you do everything in this person's image already as an American person. So that means you're not only disrespecting me, you're disrespecting the Most High Father, and you're disrespecting the dirt, which is the mother who gave me my flesh. So I'm not hearing none of that shit. And I think my people who are stolen from West Africa need to start standing up for themselves like that as well. Quit letting people call you black, which you can sue them for being racial because you're not a color person. Stop letting somebody tell you that you're what their perspective of you are. Like, you're not their projection. You are created in an image. You have to hold that image intuitively and strong front with the humbleness, and you have to gain the knowledge behind that in your own way. At the end of the day, go ahead.
That was the trick of Black Lives Matter, though. Because first they call you black, and then they tell you that you matter. But by calling you black, they say you don't matter. But then they had to convince you that you do matter. And it's like it's like, what? Hold on. Right. It's like, okay, I'm black. Black don't matter. But yeah, we're gonna tell you you do matter. So it's like, why not just not call me black? But if you don't call yourself black, if somebody just clicked into this video right now and they heard us talking, and they not enlightened, they're gonna be like, what is these Negroes talking about? They're not black.
Facts. You telling you truth. That's the whole truth. I hate to cut you off, but you telling the truth, bro. I get that shit so much. And then that's why I'm glad you told me how to re-represent myself, because I've been told that in other fashions. But I do appreciate you helping me with that. I just wanted to be honest with that, because a lot of people have told me that. So I just needed to know from somebody I didn't know exactly.
Yeah, Mo Fax is an expert at that. He knows how to seek understanding. Like, go ahead, my bad, Mo Fax, go ahead, explain it.
No, it's called the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and one of them is seek first to understand, then to be understood. So if you're going to communicate with somebody, you have to understand the person that you're communicating with. So you kind of send out like little feelers, like, what level are they on? You know what I'm saying? Okay, well, I need to bring it down to a 2. Even though I'm a 10, I need to, and I'm not saying it's bad that I'm a 10, because I was a 2 at one time too. You know what I'm saying? Because I was running around here calling myself black as well. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, okay, when I was a 2, how do I want to be talked to? And if somebody came to me on my 2 level and said, I'm not black, I'm like, he on some coon shit, or he on some self-hating shit. You know what I'm saying? So just seek first to understand, then to be understood. That way we can get to understanding. We can come down to a level of communication. Then it's like, you know what, bro? You know what black is, first of all? Do you realize what you're calling yourself? You're calling yourself a second class citizen. So are you a second class citizen? Yes or no? And then they're like, well, it's like you can't have it both ways now. You can't be black.
Hold on. And I don't mean to cut you off. Somebody was like, ask him is he melanated? Yes, I'm melanated. Melanation doesn't mean black though. If we want to be under an umbrella, we need to all identify as West African. And under that umbrella, as individuals, we need to pick tribes to come from and learn that language. And then as a code, we should use the code black for each other. So we will now, so how can we say it? We can keep each other established. Like we won't have to make up codes. We won't have to do things like that. We could be like black. Everybody's not going to say black. So if we establish the umbrella under West Africa, we know where we're stolen from, transatlantic slave trade. But individually, under that in America, under those West Africans, you have different tribes of Africans. But then as a unity, they're called black. That's what I think would feel more solidarity, like solid and powerful, because it gives you a whole nationality, a whole culture, but at the same time, you get to take a secret code identity and use it to move within and build something back that was stolen from you.
And I'm glad you brought up that word melanated, because this is where I really started becoming self-aware. I work with Indian people, you know what I'm saying? I'm about grump complexion. But I work with people that was Indian that was darker than me, but they didn't call themselves black. And it's like, hold on, why are you not black if you darker than me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand that. It's like, but they were melanated, but they had a culture. They was like, no, I'm Indian. You know what I'm saying? I come from this caste in India. And it's like that was their culture and identity. And that's what we're getting to the root of the problem is our people. Well, we got to understand how we got black in the first place, because we used to be Negro or
well,
you know
I can explain that part. That's what the whole podcast of me being on here about. Everyone say the natives started selling us first. Well, that is true, but the fact is they were selling darker and browner natives before anything. And then on top of that, the chattel slavery was not them going to Africa capturing black people. They already had black people amongst them. They just didn't call us black. So when the Europeans first came aboard with the Spanish, they traded us for the guns and stuff that they have. That's why the 5 civilizations came a hand. Those are the first people to start selling us. So that whole our own people sold us type thing, yeah, it's true on many levels.
No, what I'm saying, but black though, we used to call ourselves Negro back in the 1940s, 50s, but people hated the word Negro. Yeah, but people hated the word Negro, and the young black people start calling themselves black. And I even asked my mom this. I was like, Mom, when you start calling yourself black? And that was right around the time the James Brown song came out. So black was like the new thing. It was like a new thing to call ourselves. But what ended up happening is, as with everything else, big business came in, like, we can brand black. And that's how you got black exploitation films that started shaping what black was, to say black is pimps and doing coke and hoes and perms and conks and these things like that. And it's like, that's what we kind of run with now, is that black is really, it's like I said, it's really like a cult more than a culture. You know what I'm saying? Because you can so easily be outcast from the cult of black. It's like, if you don't think the right way, if you don't talk the right way, you know, if you speak correct English, it's like you're not black anymore. You know what I'm saying? That nigga ain't black.
Do you know? But being black under political law or the racial standard puts you at an advantage of not being considered a human or a person. Period. Because under Western European indoctrination, colors are not considered a person. In their language, which we're speaking now, which is a tongue, actually, the more they keep calling themselves black, the more that they can keep plucking them off, because under their language, is Western European indoctrination, that is not considered a person or a human. It's nothing. It's just what I think they consider it a liability. That's all you are. And you can look that shit up yourself. Grump on the computer, grump anything I'm saying, go like click behind me.
And to be honest with you, I don't know if you subscribe to this thought or not. You know what I'm saying? But I think from our studies, there were 3 groups of melanated people in this country. You had the native blacks of North America. You had the Moors that came out of Europe that came here. And then you had the Africans that were brought off the west coast of Africa. And they all had, that's why you was able to have black slave owners. If we were all brought here on slave ships, then how would a slave be able to progress to the point where he could own black slaves? So that goes to show you it was 3 groups. But what happened was, when they set up and said, you can't bring any more slaves into this country from outside the country, that's when you had these so-called police forces created that would catch fugitive slaves. And what they would do is anybody that was heavily melanated, they would throw them into the black category and you would become a slave. So, I mean, that's kind of
Bro, I'm
that's
about
just
to
a
read it
short
to
history.
you. Hold on, I'm gonna read the history from before pre-colonial until now. I got it written down from date to date. Sorry, hold on, bro. I'm about to turn this camera off real quick.
Okay.
Hold on, it's not long. It's like literally straight to the point. I keep saying literally a lot for some reason. That's my fault.
You good? I was trying to look at myself. Go ahead.
Hold on, I'm about to get it together.
While you pulling that
15.
up, is another. It was Benjamin Franklin that even said like the Germans were black. You know what I'm saying? Because he referred to them as swarthy. So I mean, like it's to be honest with you, we have very little understanding of who we are as a people, where we come from, and that's by design. Because if you don't know where you're coming from, you don't know who you are, and you definitely have self-esteem issues. It's kind of like
Hold on, but they tell you.
So what?
They tell you who you are. They put it in your face who you are. You're slaves from the transatlantic slave trade. They come from West Africa. So for them not to know who they are, that means they're just not listening.
Benjamin Franklin insulted it said stupid swarthy Germans. Go ahead. My bad.
Yeah, white was first applied to people considered Nordic. So that's people like Denmark, up north in the Scandinavia. Then they included people from Britain and stuff like that. Because in ancient Europe, the Vikings, people like that, they would go down into Germany, places, France, and they would kidnap people. Then they would sell to Italy, where the major slave traders were. They would sell white slaves. This was hundreds and hundreds of years before the transatlantic slave trade.
Hold on, I'm about to get right into that. I just found it from 1520s. Slavery didn't start till late 16th century. So 1520s to late 16th century, pre-colonial slavery meets colonial slavery. When conquistadors arrived as colonialists in North America, Native Americans changed their practice of slavery. Natives started selling war captives to the Spanish and the European colonists. That's where your Negro comes from. The Spanish, when they first got here, I think it was Giovanni di Vizarnio, or he was under King Henry or King Francis. He came to America, and the first thing he said is their flesh is like those of Ethiopians. The natives here flesh in North Carolina is those like that of Ethiopians.
Mm-hmm.
So the first people to sell us didn't have to go get a boat. They just found out where we was coming from and going to, and then they started sending other people where we was coming from with boats to go get more of us at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, the old story that I know about is that okay, first of all, if you go about 50 miles off the coast of West Africa, there's currents that pick up. These currents gonna take you to the Caribbean and South America. So you basically don't have to have massive boat. I mean plants. They done shown scientific that plants that grow in Africa are found on the coast in places like Brazil and stuff because they get washed into the ocean, they connect with that current, and they go across the planet. So yeah, the story is some black people came over, they caught that current, they landed in southern Brazil. They built some kind of structures they made out of red brick. And nothing else is around there is made of red brick. You can see some of the ruins. It's got nothing to do with the local culture. So the Andes Mountains go all the way down to the bottom of South America. They say they took the Andes Mountains all the way up to Venezuela. At that point, it's islands, the Caribbean islands start right off the coast of Venezuela, the first Caribbean island. And you could basically just skip islands all the way up to America. And this was a path.
Because to be honest with you, people were taking they were taking inner tubes from Cuba to Miami on inner tubes.
Let me say something. Somebody just pointed out one of my biggest points I'm about to make for me ever speaking in life. They said Africa started everything. All right. Since we are one of the biggest talked about things that come out of Africa, should we not have any right to pick from any culture we want to?
We can. And Grant, can you pull up a world
hold
map?
on.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, if Africa started everything and we're that biggest notion of children from them, the ones in America, can we not technically pick from any culture we want to?
We should be able to, but that's the whole point. Is that
hold on? Ain't no buts. Hold on. This is where you start listening to man. Who you gonna live by? What God entitled you to, or what man can say you can do? Now, this is where the revolution really is gonna start at. Are you gonna keep listening to what man say, or are you gonna?
Yeah. I'm agreeing with you, but they will shout you down if you try to say you anything but what they want to classify you as. That's the point I'm making.
Okay, you know what I tell them? You know what I tell them, niggas? Move aside, because I'll tell them to move aside, because at the end of the day, until you can prove me wrong, that's why you're trying to talk me down. It's all about debate.
So, but even the out of Africa theory is it makes us seem dumb, because they say everything started in the cradle of civilization, right? And that's where like everything started for all human civilization. And then what they say is white people, Asian people made it all the way around the world, from Africa up through Asia, across the Bering Strait, down through Alaska.
I gotta cut you short on that.
I'm saying the narrative. I'm pointing out the narrative here.
Oh, bet. Go ahead.
And they were able to make it across the Bering Strait, down through Alaska, down through Canada, and that's how the Native Americans got here. But black people couldn't make it out the west coast of Africa to the east coast of America in the same amount of time. That in itself.
Hold on, time out. The one thing they also forgetting is that all this used to be one whole place at the end of the day. So that story even demolishes that. Yeah.
Yeah, so but what I'm saying is, even if that's true, it goes to show you that they want to think. I'm just saying, even if it's true, the narrative says that we couldn't make it out the west coast of Africa. They could make it all the way around the world faster than we could make it from the west coast of Africa to the east coast of North America.
That's what they're saying. Both of them are true. I believe both of them are true. I believe that people came over the land bridge in Alaska, and I believe people came over from Africa. Because I do too. You can look at some of them tribes in northern Canada, the native tribes. They look like Chinese people.
True, but my point is, now I think I want to make sure we're not talking past people. What I'm saying is, even through science and geography and all of this, they're saying black people are so dumb they couldn't make it off the west coast of Africa to the east coast of America faster than the civilization came out of Africa, up through Asia, up through Europe, up through Asia, across the Bering Strait, down through North America, Canada, Alaska, and down into America. That's what they're saying when they say that.
Hold on. That's true. That's definitely a lie.
Let me take. But you know what demolishes all that? When you say we're indigenous to this planet, you idiot. That makes that hoax. Not you being the idiot. I'm talking about the white people.
Right.
If you was to say how we would defeat all of this, all you got to do is start living in this. If you go around and learn what you're supposed to and live it, you can go to the courthouse and change all your identification for $250, or probably a little bit more than that. You got to let these people know that, okay, it's your indoctrination, but I don't have to believe what you believe. I don't have to call myself black. I changed my identity to indigenous. Every time you call me black, I'm gonna take you to court because you're being racial. That's classified as racial political.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. Well, okay. Right now, brother, it's like, on one hand, I see where you coming from, and I really don't want to go on the opposite end because I don't want to clash. But one thing I'll say that I see an interesting pattern in your worldview, and you spoke about it earlier, and you talking about going back to the gods of the nations, the gods of the old West African nations, and those the old ways. And I see the same kind of thing going on amongst white groups too, where they want to go back. They want to go back to the. But no, let me lay my point out, because let me just show you the pattern I saw.
Bro, I
see the same thing happening with the white people. They want to go back to the ancient European gods. They want to go back to the ancient Nordic gods. It's the same thing.
I'm trying to agree with you, but I'm trying to get to the point. These people live on this scale. Why did you think at one point they wanted them to defund the police? Bro, they know about the indoctrination. They was going to light their asses up. As soon as they dropped the police, it was free game on everybody. This is their history. This is their culture. These people are far from stupid, even the rednecks. Like, I
gotta make a clarification because I want to understand what we're saying here. Are we saying all white people, or are we saying the ruling elite?
Bro, no, all white people know this information. I don't care what no niggas say, bro. They live under this information. Western European indoctrination is their culture.
Well,
Literally, it's their culture. The government is their culture. So when their children can go and do certain things that other children cannot do, just like they rent in a White House, this is like one big home to them. This is all this place is one big home to them. They know what the rights are to run in that White House. They knew what they were doing because it's in their blood. They're playing on a spiritual scale that you can never think of. Why do you think that they don't care about what they do and how they live? They're showing you how they are spiritually as people. And I'm not saying all of them that are bad when I say they're showing you how they are. I'm talking about all of them individually, the ones who don't care about what's going on, the ones who do, the ones who stand for America, the ones who are liberals, the ones who are conservative. These people are literally telling you and showing you who they are spiritually and who they're playing for. But
and
once,
I
I
hold
think
see
on.
that. I
think
see
hold on.
that.
Hey, hold
I
on
think
though.
All I'm
yeah.
saying is that
Once,
white people are not all one unit. So within that, you
time
got
out. Hold up.
diversity. There's some
Time
white
out.
people that believe
They,
just like you saying. There's some white
but
people
hold
that's
on,
like,
bro.
this is not our system. This system has
But
been corrupted by Christianity. They look at it from the Jewish perspective. So they say, let's strip out everything about our culture before it was infiltrated by the Jews. And let's go back to the gods of our old nation. Let's go back to the Celtic gods and the German gods and the Norse gods. That's what
Yep,
they doing.
neo paganism.
but
Exactly.
hold
Okay.
on. That's what America is built on. They have every right to bring those and switch the cultures here like that. It's in their hands. As long as we're under their indoctrination and they're considered white or European, any of those flags can fly over here because they're all considered one over here. So you could end up with a Switzerland, German, anything but a Russian flag you can end up with over here. Shit, you can end up
Nobody,
with a
I
Chinese
feel
flag
what you're
over here.
saying, but nobody is stopping us in this country from doing any kind of religious that we want to, though.
Time out. You lying like a motherfucker because at the end of the day, racism is the ability to tell you that you're an American, and if you don't believe like I believe, there's something wrong with you. So if I can
Okay,
manipulate your
so
character,
brother,
if hold
if
on, if I
if
can
I'm
manipulate you,
lying, if I'm lying, point to me where somebody was arrested for practicing an African belief. If I'm lying, where were they
no,
arrested for
it's
worshiping
not about
African
a being
ways?
arrested. Hold on, time out. It's not about being arrested. It's the collective whole of canceling you out.
Well, look, I'm not talking about what
That's the
other
Can
people
power.
want to say
can I
on
say
Facebook. I'm
can
talking
I say
about
something right quick?
it.
Can I say something right quick? Here's a
Yeah.
trick
Go ahead.
bag right here. The Africans, the neo pagans, the Catholics, the Muslims, they all believe in the same God, and it ain't the God we talking about. They all believe in the mother goddess and the horn god, Baal, or whoever you want to call them, the Baphomet, Satan, whatever. That's what they believe in. And that's why they can have that coexist shit, you know what I'm saying? That we can all be one
Hold
religion.
on, time out. Nah, it's not all like that because on this end of the stick, you got some people from all those backgrounds who do worship the mother and the father and the elders of the true nation, and they also don't believe that this Americanized way of how we worship is right. They do believe everybody should have individual religions, but if all the knowledge doesn't add up and it has you beefing like you are now, that's something satanic. If
No,
everybody is
what I'm saying is the organized religions, they all believe the same thing. Because if you really look at the Catholic Church, that's nothing but modern day. The Pope is the modern day Pharaoh. So that's the trick bag. They all want you to go away from, and this is why Christians, quote unquote Christians, and I'm very careful with that statement because it gets linked with Christianity. But the believers of the Bible are the real enemy. And as long as they can oppress them, that they'll do what they have to do. And
bro,
that's just the
Christianity.
bottom
Hold on.
line of it.
But God never told Yahweh never told nobody to be a Christian. He never said to say anything that I said into words of Christian faith. He never said when I die, make a religion out of who I was or what I did or what I walked around standing for. Man took that upon his hands at the table of Constantine in the Knights Templar.
Right, but my question is, I mean, was it a figure called Christ that walked this earth? And like I said, I don't want to
No,
make
it's
this
called
religious.
Yahweh. No, it was Yahweh. There's no J in Hebrew. He never
Of course,
switched to a
I mean,
Christian. He
yeah,
was
I mean,
Hebrew.
we can split hairs. I mean, if you want to say, you know, what I'm saying on that, but I'm just saying that is the true enemy of this beast system. At the end of the day, if they can do, and that's why they call him the Antichrist. You can believe in anything but Christ. That's the end of it. You can believe. As long as you don't believe in Christ,
hold
you
on.
all good.
But hold on, time out. But who are the? Okay, so that leads back to what this conversation to me started off with. We're created in that image. In this realm, you could believe in anything but what people created in what image.
Say it one more time.
You said you can believe in anything but the Most High, right?
Right.
Okay, in this realm, those who are created in that true image, you can believe in anything but those people, right?
Correct.
So, like I said earlier, people need to learn about what's going on around them and go by the rules of the Most High by tapping into their spiritual nature. And
Right.
I don't mean that
Bro,
false. Hold on.
I'm confused, bro. I'm confused. I'm not following you. When you say the
Go
true
ahead.
nature, are you saying the black man and woman are the true
No,
God?
hold on, bro.
What are you saying?
Hold on. What am I saying is, at the end of the day, you're a child created from two gods. You have a mother who gave you your flesh, which is out of the dirt of Africa, which you came from. And you have a father who gave you his spirit at the end of the day. And you have elders, the people who are passing on before you. You are sitting down here to change a frequency, which man is made to distract you. You're supposed to be learning the things of man while walking in the purpose of your mother and father the whole time. You're not supposed to be getting distracted.
Is this only black,
right?
or is this white people too, or anybody?
But okay, if it ties into religion, then it goes into white people, because those are the cursed people who need to do right in order to get back home. But no, in this state that I'm talking about, the true Most High, they didn't create color, so you can be whatever the human calls a color and do this. As long as you're doing this thing in a purpose and you're living in this fashion and learning and making sure you're not helping repeat the pattern, you're walking in the Most High faith. Because for one, you're not telling nobody to do nothing of this world. You're not trying to tell somebody to do like you, and you're telling anybody what they do worship. Just actually make sure that they're worshiping the positive parts of it to spread a positive energy.
Okay, so when you said when it's in religion, it's white, but outside of that, it's not color, but it's black.
Listen, bro. Listen. On a spiritual scale, this is why niggas don't like me. On a spiritual scale, none of that shit exists. We don't know nothing about people being colors. Your spirit is not a color.
So who are the true? What I want to know is, who are the true people? Can you point to them? Do they have something that makes them look different from other people?
Okay, listen to me. The person named Yahweh was killed because he went against the police. He had children, right? So those children are still getting killed to this day for looking like that person and still saying the same thing. If I was to take my image outside right now, start speaking what I'm speaking, and turn hundreds and thousands of people against the government, and it start to grow, you would see my ass get crucified and think you was rewatching the resurrection or the living of Christ again.
But
just because of what I look like.
This is where we got to be careful at, because from what I understand, they shut down all churches, not just black churches.
Listen, bro, what the fuck? Hold on, time out. Those are what? Listen, everything y'all speaking of man-made. I don't have to go to none of those motherfucking places. We're doing fellowship right now.
You missed my point. What I'm saying is, it's and this is what you're saying. Like I said, I don't want to turn this into a religious conversation, but the point I'm trying to make is, it's a spiritual war. It's not it's not a flesh war, and that's what the Bible say, that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities of evil on high. So what that means is, we have to get past this. What it really is we have to get past this arrogance of race. Whether you're white and you think white is right, or if you think black,
you have to get rid of the point of thinking that you're a flesh. Period. You have
That's
to.
my point.
Anything,
that's what I'm
saying. No, not just that. You got to understand that anything of listen. You're here for a temporary time. People are involved in life like they're living forever. Things that of man will last forever as long as men continue to give birth to humans. People are living in the fashion of thinking that they're going to live forever. They need to pump their brakes. Notice that the real job here is to make sure when your ass die, whatever you call dying, when you go back home, that you're in order to meet the Most High Mother and Father. Anything less.
I disagree with you on one point. I don't think people think they're going to live forever. I think people think there's nothing after life here. That's why you have YOLO. You only live once, and that's why you have nihilistic mentalities of let's enjoy Let's
Hold on,
enjoy
but that's
life
all
while
a
we
man.
have it.
Time out.
Huh?
They're failing again because they're all listening to man. They don't know who that man listened to, and then some of these people who know who that man who created YOLO listened to is misleading themselves because they know he sold his soul more than likely. So once
No,
again,
but
so
you
once
you
again,
mistaking me for my statement as what I believe. What I'm talking about, what the masses
no, I'm talking
believe.
about, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Society. I'm not talking about
Yeah,
you. I'm sorry about
yeah.
that. I'm speaking in general. They're
Uh-huh.
misleading themselves. Every time that they know that somebody's doing something of this world and they follow behind that person and they
Mhm.
know that's part of the test, they're setting themselves up for failure
But they don't know.
automatically. Yes, hold on, time out. How much do we speak of God nowadays? How much do black people go around and saying, I God on my side, God? These mother, if they talk like they know, so if they don't know, they running up the scoreboard on their life expectancy and
Bro,
they're just killing themselves.
let's just keep it a buck though. Our people are the same people that think only God can judge me is in the Bible. A
You're
Tupac
right.
quote.
A lot of stuff they say
I mean,
is not in the Bible.
yeah. So
Hey,
what I'm just
I
saying,
want to ask Bobby real quick. Has he heard of the name Malachi York?
I've
Oh
heard
yeah.
of it.
Oh
I
my
haven't
bad. Go
ever
ahead.
researched it or nothing.
Okay, it's what you're saying sounds very similar to his theology. I'm just yeah. I've heard
Not
what you
because it's the
said
truth.
before. Like that's the thing that's so interesting about it. And that's what goes into what I was saying about the collective unconscious, because you talked about not really reading this what you talking about, your belief, your theology. You didn't really read about it. You kind of formed it and were
No, I was
inspired
born
in
with
different
this.
ways, or born with it, intuition. It's different ways you can call it. But what I'm
Yeah.
seeing is certain other people having the same kind of theology, and they were also inspired. So it's a pattern we see in the beliefs even.
But you know what the point is, you're not seeing? Every time we get to a point to where one of me's get to where we can actually change something for people, they kill the black Messiah. Why do you think they keep on making movies like that? They're making fun of that shit. I don't want to build one black Messiah. I want to build a legions of Messiahs, period. If I can't build a legions of leader Messiahs, female, divine, in male, like strong spirits, I don't want it at all, because at the end of the day, I'm not here to mislead. If I was here to mislead, I wouldn't have this gift. I am here to build leaders amongst leaders. And those who are playing for the other side, fuck them, because they getting smoked. That's how God set it up, and that's how they truly believe. In the spiritual realm, they don't care about your feelings. It's either you gonna play by the rules or you gonna get your ass got. They don't care. They don't care.
Yeah, I mean, we got the freedom, bro, to believe any kind of way we want to believe, and so I can see where you coming from. I can also see where people that don't agree coming from. Now, where they get mad at you and stuff like that, I don't really see the point in that. But yeah, man, you free to build your life and live in any kind of way you want to.
well, they get
It's
mad at
crazy
him. What you
though.
trying to do? They get mad at him because when you say you're the identity that you claim, then you're saying you leave them with the question like, then who the hell am I? You know what I'm saying? You
We the
can't.
Well,
same.
yeah.
That's just
They
like
the
you
same.
somebody
That's what I'm
walking in.
telling them.
That's like somebody walking in and saying, you know what, that man over there, that ain't your daddy, and then they walk back out the door. It's like, hold on, then who is? You can't just come upset my life like this. You know what I'm saying? And say that say he
Yeah.
ain't my daddy, and then
Yeah,
leave. You know,
because
that's
we
what you
can.
basically doing.
Right, Mo
So,
Facts, and I feel you, because it's like once we step out the realm of ourself and our loved ones, we cannot dictate what another person gonna do. So the only thing that steps in the way there, and that's what it's for, is law. That's to bring this disagreement to a close, because we not seeing eye to eye. We not gonna see eye to eye. So
watch
somebody
that.
got to say something to end this.
Well,
And so when you say, Bobby, this is the one disagreement that I have with you majorly, is that when you say F that, you really not saying F that, because it's so many ways in which you comply with the law every single
Who?
day. You, and if
Who?
you have
Name.
problems
You
with
can
the
name
law,
two of them. You name
brother,
two of them. I cash app you $20. I promise.
bro, all I'm saying is that if you in violation of the law and them folks know, please don't
Bro,
tell
I
me
know.
that you not
Listen,
finna
I
that you
don't.
not
I
finna
don't
go
do
in when
any.
they say do.
I don't do anything that's going to involve me with society. That's not what I'm here for. Once y'all actually learn to leave the distractions alone, you're not going to have no reason to be in the police's face.
Right, and
You're
you
going to
just
be off
wording
the
it. You
grid.
you wording it a different way. You are complying with the law. You know what you can and can't do. You just don't like to use the
Hold on,
word
time out.
law, but that's okay.
Hold
Can I
on.
say something?
That's
Can I say
not
something right
comply.
quick? Can I say
That's
something right
not
quick?
complying with law. That's living by natural, knowing what I should and shouldn't be doing, though.
Can I say something though? I mean, if we
Go
all
ahead,
reading from
Mo.
the same book, it says render unto Caesar what is his. So the book teaches us to comply with the law of the land. I mean, whatever it is, because you know what I'm saying, we shouldn't be in contention with the law. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, at that point, if you pay, if you owe taxes, you got to pay them. You know what I'm saying? That's when you're saying they call. And like I said, I don't want to make this about religion or belief.
No, you good.
What I'm saying, what I'm trying to say is, if we deal in, I think a lot of times everybody wants to change the world when you need to change yourself. And I think that's what you're saying, Bobby. You know what I'm saying? If you change yourself, then you don't have to worry about the world. But at the same time, I think what Don is saying is we have to be in compliance with the law, you know what I'm saying, just out of sheer, you know what I'm saying, existence. I mean, because
But
even if you're
why
locked up
though?
in, even if you're locked, if you're not in compliance with the law, then they're gonna force you to be in a jail cell, and you still gonna be on the law's time. So I mean,
Yeah.
so
And
so at
just
the
like
end of
the
it,
yeah, I'm sorry, Mo, but it's just like the streets is cold and life is cold, the law is cold. Hey, it's something that they want you for. Why? It don't matter why. This is the law. If you don't understand the law, that's on you. Don't
but
nobody
I understand.
care.
So
Hold on, but I
I get what
understand
you're
what
saying.
Bobby's saying. Hold on, I just want to clear some things. I just want to make sure we clear the water so it's not muddy. But what Bobby is saying is he doesn't participate, and correct me if I'm wrong, he limits his participation in societal ways, so he doesn't have to change who he is.
Fact.
Is that correct?
Yeah, because we're not
Okay.
supposed to be
Okay.
participating in anything of the world anyway, especially
Exactly.
Yeah.
man.
I feel what you're saying now, Bobby. I just
But no, you telling the truth.
when I hear brothers say F the law, I be thinking to myself like, man, that's got to be all cap because I don't think any of them brothers is gonna stand on that when the police
Oh,
is in their face.
time out. With story time,
Oh
story
man,
time,
okay.
story time.
Story time. Go
Oh,
ahead, man.
you can go to any of my web pages and they'll tell you this shit is true, bro. Since I've been a shorty, I will look a cop dead in the fucking eyes and tell them, if you not God, bro, do not try to tell me what the fuck to do because you're not the creator, bro. You can ask anybody who knows me. I do not play that man-made authority shit. If I stay out of the way, period, I don't give a fuck what kind of rules you make up. I don't have to go by them. And most people be like, bro, you're lying, this, and that. Try me. Google any of my social medias and ask any fucking person you want to know. You can go to my elementary school kindergarten teacher or my motherfucking principal, and they'll tell you he's done said that shit out of his mouth since he was a child. If you're not God, you cannot tell me what to do. I'm not here for that purpose. Literally, I'm
Okay,
not.
well,
But
hey,
hold
look, I
on.
can't say what you can and what you will and won't do.
Okay.
That's something that I will not say. All I'm saying is that if we choose that, let's just carry it out all the way to the end. That's all I'm saying. Let's just have integrity. And I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to everybody that's out there
No, you good, bro. I
that use
appreciate your
those
combo.
words because that's a powerful thing to say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Bro, you gotta,
and I just
but
want
you're
to say
here for
this.
that purpose.
I want to point out this one thing. If you go to the candy or go to the store and buy a candy bar for $1 and you pay $1.06 in taxes, you comply to the law. I mean, that's just
Hold on, time out. Who say that you gotta actually pay for anything if you actually know what you're doing? They stealing from you. All they asking you to do is be better
no.
than
What
what
I'm
they doing
saying
to
is
you.
you're not gonna argue with the cashier like it's $1. Why do I gotta pay
Who
a
said I was
dollar
gonna
oh
speak
six?
to? You said we stealing. Why am I speaking to the cashier? Period.
No, I'm not saying you're stealing. What I'm saying
Oh, I'm
is
about to say we stealing. What?
no. I
We
said
stealing
you're
while I'm speaking
still.
to the cashier.
I said you're still
Oh,
gonna pay. I said you're still gonna pay $1.06. And if you pay
if
$1.06
I
and the
don't,
candy bar is $1, you're complying to the law, which says you had to pay sales tax. So I mean, it's a
time
very
out.
slippery. Yeah, go ahead.
Nah, time out. If I'm hungry and I'm coming from a place to where I know I don't have the right knowledge to feed myself, but I know how to steal, I'm gonna become good at whatever. I'm gonna become good at whatever I'm bad at. I mean, yeah, whatever I'm bad at, I'm gonna become good at it because that's the way I'm gonna feed myself. That's the only thing I can tell people. Like, I don't believe in excuses. Like, I'm being free. I done
No,
been
no,
through
no.
some
I'm not
horrible
saying
shit.
steal. No, I didn't say steal a STEAL. I'm saying you're still gonna pay. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. If you go in the store and a candy bar costs $1,
Okay.
and the total comes up to $1.06 due to tax, you're not gonna just pay $1. You're gonna pay $1.06 because the law dictates to you that you had to pay sales tax.
Oh,
You know
man,
what I'm
you
saying?
using semantics. You using
No,
semantics
no,
on me
I'm not.
now.
No, that's
What
not
I'm saying,
semantics, bro. It's not.
it's not semantics. What I'm saying is, I'm saying how invasive the laws is of this land. So to say you don't have to
True.
comply with them, and that's all I'm pointing out is that's just
But
like me.
that's
I
nothing
don't believe.
outrageous though. That's nothing outrageous though to comply with buying a candy bar. I'm talking about like how my life is supposed to go or my spirit, because of when I cross over, you're not the person I'm gonna have to answer to.
And I totally agree with you. And I think we all.
That's
I
what
think
people
every.
understand.
I
And
think
even
every.
and
I
I'm
think.
sorry, Mo. Go ahead.
Right.
And even in the Christian tradition, that's a thing, because at a certain point, if the law says to do one thing that goes against your conscience, that what you know to do is right, then you have to resist that law.
And then you know what, Don, I was headed that way because you know what, I'll pay the taxes. Whatever the law dictates to me to do, I will do. But my line in the sand is taking this damn vax. I ain't gonna say it because I don't want Grunt Channel to get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that becomes law,
hold on.
screw the law.
I gotta ask y'all a
I'm not
question.
taking
Do you
your vax.
hold on. Hold on. You're created from the Most High's image. You're a brother, right?
Right.
Do you believe your God actually told you to obey a set of motherfuckers on the land that He put you on first? How do y'all believe in this shit?
What do you mean? No, the book tells us to adhere to the laws of the land.
Tom, what kind of God created you in their image, gave you that kind of power, and told you to listen to another motherfucker? Seriously.
Well,
Well,
man,
I mean, I think
that's
to
a
be honest
question
with
of
you,
revelation, bro.
to be honest with you, I think that's part of the curse that we had to endure because of our disobedience.
I'm not.
From
Hold
the
on.
beginning.
Fuck that. I'm not under no curse. My God didn't create me in His image and gave me the mother's flesh and tell me I'm cursed. So you telling me that He telling me that the bitch that gave me birth is cursed? No, that's what, man. Fuck that.
No,
You're
that's
not
not.
cursed, bro.
That's
You're
not
not
what it's
cursed.
saying. That's not what it's saying, bro. The question you asked was about revelation. Like, why did it come down in the form it came down? Why didn't He just upload it into our brain from birth? And why did He do it this way instead of that way? So that's when just the difference in worldview come in. So you don't follow a God that reveals itself through written text, okay? But you know what I don't like is for the hypocrisy in the sense of, why is the way you say from intuition birth, why is that better or why is that worse? And that's where it gets into the conflict, because we never gonna see eye to eye on this. So if you don't understand
No, because
why
I don't
the
get it. You
revelation
created
can
in
come
the
down in
image.
the book, bro, you just don't understand.
What?
Just like I might not understand how this stuff was in you from birth. I just don't. But I'm not finna say, why
Bro,
would
it's
God do
easy.
something
They
stupid
tell
like that?
you. They tell you. God tells you. He get. Bro, it's told to all of us. Like, I don't get how a group of people can know a certain creation, but then I don't understand this part of the concept comes with it. I don't. And to me, that bothers me at the end of the
No,
day. It's
because
like, are
I'm
y'all
gonna
part
say
of the.
this. I'm gonna say this. If you say we're the chosen people, in the book it says that we were cursed. Deuteronomy 28. So I mean,
Okay, time
you
out.
can't
Those are
slice
two
it both
different
ways.
books, though. That's not the book you actually come from. The book, American Standards of Religion, I do not respect at all, because religion actually means control system. And that book was made from the table of Constantine based off Ethiopian Christianity spirituality.
Okay.
So I'm not taking advice. I'm not taking instructions from somebody who learned from my creator. Why? No. I'm not.
So,
I
see, I
came
think
from the
okay.
creator.
Now I get where you're coming from. 'Cause I
Yeah,
thought you was adherent to. I thought you was
No, I'm from the
adherent of it.
creator.
No, I thought
I
you was.
get where he's coming from, because he mentioned
It took an hour and
Constantine.
43 minutes. All right.
And
No, because when you said
and
you
that's
was a
what I'm
believer
saying. That's where we get into the religious issues, because if you do the knowledge, you see that there were many councils before Constantine, and Constantine was not about making a certain form of the Bible. The Bible was already in its final form before the Constantine council, so that's not
You're
even
right.
true.
So no, listen. This is what Constantine did. Constantine learned of the power of Ethiopian Christianity, took it, and why do you think they came back telling people over there in Africa, if you don't come with us, our God's going to send you to hell? They had to learn it from us. You're correct. It was in its full form.
So
it was all the way in
basically
its
what
full
I'm saying
form.
is that you could go back to the Ethiopian church and see the scripture and see it line up with the different other scriptures. So it's not like, of course we deal with the Protestant Bible, and that they did make they left out certain books that's in the original. Now
Well,
they did do
you got to
that.
get the apocrypha, yeah, to get you're saying
They
the
did
additional
do
book.
that, but it's like
Hold
no,
on, which
it's
book you
not
talking
true that
about? I
what
know
you were
all of them.
talking
When you
about
talking about
earlier, what you were
you talking
talking
about the
about
book that
earlier
got
with
Lilith in it?
Constantine, and I'm saying
Yeah.
that on the West, in the Western world, yes, Constantine affected that those decisions through the Catholic Church were a big deal. What I'm
Okay, I
also
got a better
saying is that
question.
outside of the West, you have a tradition that wasn't touched by any of that. A Christian tradition.
You said so out west. You mean Western European, right?
When I say the West, I mean starting in Western Roman Empire, from the and including the Greek culture, the Hellenized culture. That is considered
You're right.
Western culture.
You're right. And they learned about the Christianity when they took their asses to Africa, saw people doing stuff that they didn't think was impossible, learned the knowledge, and came back and said, if you don't listen to us, our God's gonna send you to hell. That's what slavery started.
Yeah, they misused what they got. That's true. They
So
misused it.
listen, so today the same people who brought their asses from that land, calling themselves lords, also established a place called America, and also brought that same form of teaching here as well. And they passed it on to the slaves, and also made those books, which they also have this book written in text called the Slave Bible, where they took over 40 pages and 40 other books out of this, only to give you these verses. Now, I'm not going to sit here and have myself created in the image and have two other brothers and another brother research and created in their image and tell themselves that they're under the notion that the God that they serve tells them to live by the land and law by somebody else, that he ain't even blessed this place too. It's not going to ever make sense. It's not. You're hated. You're hated for a purpose.
Yeah, I mean, look, as far as how scripture was misused by people here in the colonial Americas and things like that, yeah, it was misused. I just don't want to get confused and say that because that was misused, then that means that what we consider scripture today is corrupted. And no, I'm
You
saying
are the
you have
scripture,
to go out.
bro.
Look, bro, I
You
know
are
what
the
you're saying.
scripture.
I'm just speaking from
Hold
my
on.
worldview.
Yeah.
Like I
Okay,
know what you're saying.
I'm gonna say this. I think I'm saying we just had to say we agree to disagree, or
Yeah.
I mean, because we can't discuss something that we can't, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
align on.
this is worldview
Time
warfare,
out.
man.
Time out. How? Listen, y'all talking about a passage that's created on you, which you are still living out the same things that are written in the text today. How can we not speak on something that is based on us that we keep having to live through, no
No,
matter
because
what the millennia is?
no, I think you're
And this,
saying that we shouldn't adhere to the laws of the land, and I think we should adhere to the laws of the land because
The
that's how.
same laws killed your father. The same laws and the same people killed your father. How can you inherit to those? How can you believe in that?
What do you mean the same laws kill my father? What do you mean?
The people of the land, the law of the land, and the same people who hung the people who created you in their image. How can you believe that is true? The Romans,
So
with your police today,
hold on.
killed.
See that, but that's I'm explaining that to you. That's a slippery slope. So you're saying I should speed and I shouldn't adhere to red lights and I shouldn't I should because of
No,
what
I'm not
happened.
saying that.
I
I'm
mean, but
telling
that's
you
what I'm
that at
saying.
the end of the day,
That's how that can be
I'm telling you at the
interpreted.
end of the day, you are the story. So at the end of the day, all you got to do is know what's harmful around you and what hurt you last time, so you don't make the same mistake this time.
But
That's the
see,
whole
I
story.
interpret that different because if I move, like you say, off my intuition, that's powered by the Most
You
High,
will want
then
to
I'm
stay out the
always gonna be
way.
in the right position.
it's like Bob.
You are. You're gonna
It's
stay
like you
out the
taking
way.
stuff
If you listen
literally.
to God, I'm in a temporary realm for a long-term purpose that affect my spirit. I'm supposed to be literal. Everything that I say counts towards my energy.
Hey,
I'm not playing behind this. Like, you think I'm playing about where I'm going to after I leave from here? Fuck no.
I don't think any of us is playing. Yeah, go ahead, Grump.
Like every time I'm sorry, Grump. Go ahead. Sorry, Grump. Go ahead.
I was about to say we're going to take a step back, and this is where it's going to all lead up to. Everything y'all said about is leading up to this right here. This whole slide right here, the Truman Show, like the whole, you know what I'm saying? The complex, the matrix within the matrix, the overall what we discussed. This kind of simulates to that. You get what I'm saying? What y'all gonna say about this? Y'all know this movie?
But I'm gonna say, let me say this though: the way you beat that.
No, I love their views. I like their views. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to be open.
No. I don't think anybody is like disagreeing with. I mean, well, we disagree, but we're not being disagreeable. You see what I'm saying? We just have different views. But what I'm saying is, I think the way we survive this system, where I mean, it's really satanic oppression, if you want to really call it what it is. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's in a sense of dark forces. Is you have to live life and enjoy life in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like what I say, eat, drink, and be merry. If you enjoy life, you enjoy food, you enjoy your family, you know what I'm saying, and enjoy the things closest to you, then really the whole world don't exist. Everybody's worried about what's going on in China, across the world, and all the other things that really don't have an impact on their lives. And all it really does is traumatize them. You know what I'm saying? Worry about the things that are close to you. And I'll say this last thing, and I'll wrap up on this. This is why we got to realize that the two circles, the circle of concern and the circle of influence. Some things that we are concerned about, we have no influence over. And if we have no influence over, then we shouldn't worry about it. But we should worry about the things we can actually have influence over, which we do the opposite. We're worried about all these worldview, not us, but as humans, we're worried about all these things on the world stage, and our house is in disarray. It's like, come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you focus all your energy on cleaning up your own house and your own personal walk, which I think Bobby is saying is, you know what I'm saying, it's a personal walk that we have to, you know what I'm saying, endure in this short period of time, then you will have a good life. And I mean, I'll close on that.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with Mo Facts, and just to reach out to Bobby, even though this shows that people that have different worldviews, we can live together. If Bobby is my neighbor and I know he feel the way he feel about things, that Bobby don't have to sleep with one eye open, because Bobby ain't got to worry about me, because I'm like, Bobby is good. If Bobby needs some help, Bobby reach out to me. I want to let Bobby know he can. But when it just comes to certain things, we gonna draw a line in the sand, and that's what we have to do as men. And so, yeah, man, for sure. Moving to the go ahead.
I just want to pay respects. I appreciate both of y'all's debates. I appreciate both of y'all going against the standard which y'all stand for. I don't want to talk to people who's going to be yes men and stuff like that. I want people who solid in what they grew on in their experience and their beliefs as well. So I appreciate the whole conversation, to be honest.
Oh yeah, man. Always good to learn and grow and develop and learn new brothers, get to meet people, because we need each other. But yeah, man, moving on to this Truman Show analogy, man. It is a lot of deep stuff in the Truman Show. It's been analyzed by tapping into some old Greek mythology. That's why a lot of Hollywood, we tell the same stories over and over again, man. And so Hollywood tapping into Greek mythology a lot. And for the Truman Show, the specifics don't come to mind. One thing though that I think about is the Prometheus story about coming into the light and understanding. And that was an old Greek story, and that's kind of what Truman does in this video, in this movie. He comes to the light of understanding that basically all he was doing the whole time was looking at the shadows on the wall instead of looking at the flame that actually the source of reality. He was looking at the play.
So does that have to do like, my bad. All right, so explain that again. Like, what is the whole movie of the Truman? Because I watched it. Like, what is it based off of? Like the hero's journey, or is it based off of like, you know, it was another thing?
I misspoke. I said Prometheus. I meant Plato's cave. Plato's cave is an allegory, and it's about some people around a fire, and they're looking at the walls. They're looking at their reflections on the walls, and they're not focusing on the fire. They're being distracted by the reflections, and they're not focusing on the fire, the source of the light. And so that's what Truman's life is before he realizes that there's another reality. There's something, the real reality is what he comes to the understanding of. And so Plato's cave, that allegory has been used in a lot of Western rites, man, from Freemasonry to other different groups. They use this.
So explain. Oh, my bad.
Uh,
Can you break down the? I'm looking at this image right here. I know most of y'all probably can't see it, but it's these people in the cave. They're behind a brick layer of a brick wall, and behind them is a fire, and it's people behind them, with hoodies on, holding up signs, and they look like the people and behind that wall is looking like in despair, I believe. And you see some people who escape the cave. Am I correct? Have you seen this image?
Exactly. So on the left side of the picture, the people in the cave, that's like the masses. And then there are some people that have a better understanding. Those are the people that understand that the fire is what's creating those shadows. It's not that the shadows have any life in and of themselves. That would be like the class of people that are like in the middle, in between the masses and the rulers. And then the rulers are the ones outside the cave. They understand there's a whole nother reality. So the rulers can manipulate both groups, and they
So,
think they have the true knowledge.
That's yeah.
so it's like this.
What-
Basically, um, the everyday ordinary person watches the news, right? And Don Lemon would be the person casting the shadows on the wall.
Fact.
You understand what I'm saying? So the ordinary, everyday person watch the shadows and they think that's the real show. But really, Don Lemon is using the flame or the entertainment or say apparatus that they have to cast those images on the wall. But then there's another level of rulership over top of him that gives him his orders.
Yep.
Fact. It's like the
And
pyramid scheme.
right. And what I want to say is I take the Truman Show more literal in the sense that I think honestly people are caught up in a 7-day cycle. It's especially our people. We
Crucial.
live
Nah, you right.
once you become a certain age, you get caught up in a 7-day cycle. We all know what that is. Monday through Friday, we go to work. Friday, we get off. We have some drinks. We play some cards. Saturday, we wash the car. We do a little yard work, do a little housework. Sunday, we go to church. Then we prep to start back over Monday again. And that's the Truman Show. And everybody is just playing their role in the show. And it's like one day you wake up, like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or you realize it's like, all this shit doesn't make any sense. It's all for naught. And then you start when you start to wake up, that's what Truman started noticing. Like he started seeing the that it was everybody was just playing a role and they was in the same place. And if you notice, and that's why I bring up this two types of characters in life. They're static characters and they're dynamic characters. Static characters stay the same. And that's that person that comes to your cubicle every Monday and say, hey, you see the game? You know what I'm saying? Like clockwork. You know what I'm saying? You can count on them coming to your cubicle and saying the same thing. You go to lunch, they eat the same stuff. And it's like they have the same conversations. And then if you're a dynamic person, then you realize, you know what? We're just repeating the same shit over every day. Excuse my language, but we're just repeating the same stuff over. And it's like I want something different. I want change. And I think that I take this Truman Show in more of a literal sense in that manner.
I
And
see it sort of as.
go ahead.
Go ahead, my fault. I was just gonna say like the view on how I see it. I see it as the Matrix, like the original creator made it, Sophia Stewart. You have 80% who are part of the program, or it's 85% who are part of the program. You have 10% who can create within the program, and you have 5% who can do both, who are the thinkers. So and then you have that small chance of having people like us who get both sides of the scene, like Neo started to, and have the 15% which who can create and build at the same time. And those who are part of the program, if you start to create and build too much, it'll be like the agents in the movie. There's something wrong with this program, and we got to do something to keep it, you know what I'm saying, the system function how it's going.
That's exactly what happened in our history. Like I was saying before, the first about 50, 75
Yeah,
years
there
of
she go.
American history, it was like that. people living together, doing what they wanted to do, and some people in power
Hey,
had a
y'all see
problem
that
with that.
picture? Y'all see that picture? That woman created the Matrix. She is the first creator of the Matrix off her intuitive nature of the sister's womb. The Matrix, the original Matrix movie, everything was switched around. You're not supposed to take the blue pill. You're supposed to take the red pill. She sued, man. She's still suing these people. They stole her premonition and intuitive nature in 1980 something. Or I think it was before that. She created that movie way a long time ago.
I think did she do
Like,
Terminator as well?
The Terminator.
I
Yeah, she
think
got
so.
receipts for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
Terminator 2.
seen it.
So when y'all ask me who I get my nature from, no, I when I was young and I started, you know what I'm saying, thinking how I'm thinking now, I would see people like this and I would know that I'm following the right path. This is what I mean by if our people would just sit down and just actually let their DNA and just start being curious with their intelligence, bro, we will have a sector so deep that nobody will be able to touch us. We have over 400 billion styles and we can switch them just like that.
And I agree with you on the intuitive nature because
Damn.
most of the time we know what is right and what is wrong. And we know if something is on some BS or not. But what we have to do is then we have to prove it. Now, Bobby,
you have to wield that power too.
Yeah, Bobby, you say we don't have to prove it, but if we're trying to communicate to other people, if you're trying to make your case, you need evidence in court, right? It's like
no,
it's
hold
like,
on, time out.
Yeah.
That's where black people keep messing up. They're trying to learn you now. The information that I have from the last person who studied us, they say we have over 400 million different styles and they can't even name them distinctly. No, we don't need to let people know about the codes because when people know about the codes, that's how they keep their things in order over what they consider the oppressed people. Now, once you keep people out of that loop, I'm sorry, go ahead. I might have misheard you. Go
what
ahead.
I'm saying is amongst ourselves, if you're trying to convince somebody to come out of the 85%, into what I use is the breakdown that you're saying the 5% nation use. I don't subscribe to their belief system, but I think they were onto something when they're like 85% of the people are sheep, right? And then 10% exploit the sheep, and then you got 5% that know what's going on. They try to enlighten the 85%. So if you're trying to enlighten the 85%, you may know things on intuition, but the problem is when you try to convince people, they're like, "How you know? How you know?" You know what I'm saying?
Easy. I'll say as soon as the moment you sit down with me and you tap into this unworldly nature, I'll show you better than I could tell you.
But how do you get them tap in though? I mean, I'm not being facetious when I ask this, but
I'll let them take a personal look. I'll let them take a personal look in my own life. I tell them to take a seat back. I tell them relax from their flesh, come hang with me for a while and see how it lives on the outside of the matrix. It's easy, bro.
Look, for exercise, I'm gonna go into my sheep mind for a minute. That's cause you smart, Bobby. I ain't smart like you.
Man, quit saying that, bro. Like, quit saying that. Everybody
you know what the
has
response is gonna be, though. Bobby, come on. We know we dealt with our people long enough. We know what the response is gonna be. Like, you different, Bobby.
This is always going to be my response. This is always going to be my response. It can't be just me. This is the only section I'm good in. So you have to be somebody who can paint a picture perfect as well. So
man, Bobby, I'm just normal, Bobby. I ain't like you, bro.
Well, let's take that normal strong suit and show you your unworldly part and your position in it. There's nothing you're gonna tell me. There's no excuse you can give me that I don't have a solution for.
No, I'm just saying, I'm being facetious, but that's what we had to deal with and that's the real trick of the devil is the lower expectations. That's why they be like, "Oh, you're smart for a black person." What the hell is that supposed to mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that a compliment or an insult? You know what I'm saying? Like,
and this is
I love those.
This is where it comes down. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You good? I just wanted to say I love those people. That's all.
No, this is what he's trying to get to. Like, this is why I put up what's his name, Cypher from the Matrix. How he's being disingenuous because he chose to be like that. So what was Mofax was doing? He was being disingenuous. I can't pronounce the word towards you, right?
Yeah,
but it's like
I'm not even saying they're disingenuous. What they are is they have lower expectations for themselves. So they'll say, "No, Bobby, you get it because you're smart. I'm not smart like you." You see what I'm saying?
Self-projection.
Huh?
It's a self-projection on themselves. They don't shoot it to me. They'll just do it to themselves in a detrimental form.
Right.
Yeah, this is perfect what you brought up, Grump, because this guy here, what he's doing, it basically illustrates the point I wanted to make, which was that I don't think it's a belief problem. I don't think it's a wokeness problem. I think it's
Nope.
what do we want to do? What do we choose? Because we could just think about back in the 60s when some of our mothers and fathers was looking at what was happening and they formed the Black Panther Party and they was like, we're going to do this differently. We seen what our family was wanting to do, but we're going to do this. And they did it. So we all know if we focus on our families and have better families, the women got their arguments with the dudes got their argument with the men. But we know at the end of the day, if we came together as a strong family unit, that would help us out on the collective. Why don't we do that? Because what do we want to do as an individual? We know what we need to do. We still don't do it.
But and this is why I strongly agree with Bobby at. We need to stop thinking so much and start doing. You know what I'm saying? We gotta, you know what I'm saying, and that's where the word comes in. It says, we move by faith and not by sight. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we just gotta move. We're saying it's the paralysis of analysis. We sit back, well, you know, man, they ain't gonna do, Bobby. You know what I'm saying, Don? They ain't gonna let me do that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Even if I get that done, then the three next things gonna get me. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like they'll think themselves out of a solution. And I think that's the way the system works. It's like, yeah, spend half your life thinking about what you want to do. When other
Like
people
this.
when the other people just get out and move and do and move off of, you know what I'm saying, off of gut, which gut itself is like a second brain. If you really know, understand the gut, it's a, you know, that's why you get queasy and when you have big decisions to make, because your gut is you know saying, and that's when you operate off your gut. And it was somebody I was watching, it was Schoon and it was Schoon TV and what's the other brother's name? Whitlock. They were having a conversation. And a lot of times our people don't have any the things they need to have because we don't have balls. And I don't mean the actual testicles. I'm talking about that strong self-assurance, self-belief in ourselves to do something. You know what I'm saying? To do that scary thing.
Exactly. That's the conversation we probably all had in the hood with our homies, talking about, hey, I'm getting up out of here, and everybody agreed. But only a few people in that group actually meant business.
Man, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, bro. Some days I get up and cry because I'm out of the people that I know, I'm the only one that everybody literally can see do that, and I'm doing it. I mean, like at my own home and all type, like that kind of grief of knowing the whole mission is to get out the hood because God created you to be a better person, and it's just due to circumstances. That type of stuff would make you feel sad for some people. I'm not even gonna stunt to you.
Oh yeah, I feel you, man. Well, it's one point when
and hence why we seek out each other right now on this call, because we all are those people that had the gumption enough to, you're saying, to bet on ourselves and bet on our abilities, and it gets very lonely. It's a very isolated. It's very isolating to be, saying, to want to achieve something as a so-called Black person. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like,
yeah, you got everybody against you. You got the stereotypes, and even the stereotypes we put on ourselves. We box ourselves in so much as a people, and it's really unfortunate on every level, religion, socially, is we box ourselves in too much, man.
Hey, I'm gonna have to close out with this. I don't mean to get off on you guys, but my phone go down on you. But the one thing I want to do as a collective is bring what's considered Black in America under an umbrella of a nationality. That way, if they need to be backed up, they can back themselves as a unity, not as an individual claiming a unit. They need more of as a collective than an individual site. And the only way that I could do that is like the help of my brothers like I am now, somebody telling me better ways in order to get informed with the people and showing them from an unworldly aspect of their true nature. But in order for it to work, we have to keep grinding. We have to keep iron sharpening like this, because these are the tangibles of what can happen when you put your mind before your flesh, or you put your mind before a label of a subculture, or you put your mind before anything that doesn't have to do with your purpose, basically. That's all.
And I'll say this one thing for you, Gal, Bobby. I think bigger than an identity is a code. And a code, if we all operating on the same code, then we don't need an identity. You know what I'm saying? We I'm gonna do right by you, I'm gonna do right by Don, I'm gonna do right by Grump. You know what I'm saying? We gonna do right by each other. And if we operate on that code, then we don't have to, you know what I'm saying, it's bigger than identity, because that new identity is just gonna become the new black.
I mean, for it's a
That was
solitude, so I
deep.
get what you're saying.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, Bobby, man. It was nice meeting you, brother.
Hey, nice meeting y'all, and I respect that. I mean, I respect that y'all was going at me too, bro. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody listening. I don't want to talk to you if you're gonna agree with me all the time. If you can't do what these brothers do, then I don't want to talk to you, because it just let me know how strong your mind is and how intellectual you are on your own standpoint. That's all.
Yeah, man, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Bet I'll holler at you guys. Stay safe
bro,
out there, y'all.
Man.
All right, peace.
Yeah.
Peace.
And like me and Mofax was saying earlier, it's like you want an echo chamber. You want somebody who actually, sees stuff in a different perspective. You get what I'm saying? Very good. Bye-bye.
Yeah, man. Big shout out to you, Grump, for doing this, man. You going against the grain right now by not. We ain't been talking about booty shaking for the last 2 hours, man. It's unfortunate that that's like some kind of accomplishment, but that's just how low the bar is right now.
The bar is low by design, though. That's why I keep telling everybody. It's like they telling us, "Hey, you tall for a midget, huh?"
Yeah.
It's like, how am I supposed to take that? It's like,
yeah.
And that's crazy. Like with our attention span is like less, almost equivalent to a goldfish.
Oh yeah, and they know it. The people at Facebook, YouTube, they understand very well.
well, they understand how to manipulate your attention span. I mean, because something could come across your screen that sends you off in a whole nother rabbit hole. It's like, dang, I just came out here to see what grandma was doing. Now I'm over on this website I don't need to be on.
Yep.
So that I'm about to say you had set a good example about what's going on in the media and everything on both networks. It has different. You was like you want to look at what they're not talking about, and you want to go down there what they don't want you to see, right?
Yeah. And so I'll explain to Don what I was saying. Grunt was my tagline is pay attention to everything the truth reveal itself. And the way that started was I would sit down and I would watch MSNBC and Fox News, you know what I'm saying, go flipping back and forth between both.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that they wouldn't talk about would be the thing that I'm interested in. Because it's like the part of the story that you leave out is kind of like, it's like, why don't you want me to know about that? And I would go and seek that out. What do you think about that, Don?
That's huge. There's a family member I talk to that they watch the news, and when I'm speaking to them about certain political things, it's gotten to the point where I don't really like to have those conversations, because it's like if I could replace my conversation with this person with news clips from CNN and MSNBC. They are literally just repeating to me what the news told them.
Don, I know exactly what you're talking about, because you can pretty much predict what they're going to say. And I play this game like, if I say this, I know they're going to say this. If you say something, they'll say Proud Boys or stand by and stand back. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
how much taxes the president paid or something.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but whatever the news, they just regurgitate. They don't take it in and process it and you know what I'm saying, analyze it. They just take it in and then they regurgitate talking points to you to the point where it's like, wow, like, do you have any individual thoughts on your own?
Exactly. That's why, like you said earlier, people talk about only God can judge me is in the Bible, because they just repeating something somebody else told them.
It's maddening. That's why I was saying it's isolating, because when you start to talk to people and then you get to the point where you don't want to talk to people, because it's like, I know what you're going to say. I know, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be mass incarceration. It's going to be 3/5 a man. It's like, Jesus, like, all you're doing is just, but that's the power of narratives, and that's why they put think tanks together to write up these talking points, because they're easy to remember and to regurgitate.
Exactly. I mean, even when building our social media presences, we all seen the advice about titling your podcast, make it short, make it catchy. You know, these are the type of lessons we learning from that they learned what 50 and 60 years ago when they was putting all these marketing campaigns together. And it just comes down because it's law in the sense of, hey, this is marketing, man. You got to keep it simple for the people. Where did that stuff come from? That's where it came from.
And can y'all explain, like Mo? Can you explain to the people the acts of like communism, not just the label, just explain the acts of it, like in situations. Like, you think you ready for that?
Yeah, it was so it was a conversation came up. We're seeing communism become more pop culture. The way people want things for free, and they think other people that achieve things they think they're owed it. And it was now the reason why this conversation came up was there was a conversation that Chad Ochocinco Johnson posted between him and his daughter, and she asked him for a pair of Yeezys, and he told her, he's like, I thought you were going to get a job, and she's like, well, I go to school and I run track. I don't have time for a job. And he was like, well, when I was your age, I went to school and went to school, played football, and had a job. And it pissed a lot of young people off because they were like, why don't he just buy her the Yeezys? And I was telling Grump, I said, see, that's communism in effect in everyday life, because people think they're entitled to the hard work of others, even if it's your children. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. You have to work, but that's the time people are on now. It's like, even though you work hard for what you have, give me some.
Yeah.
It's the redistribution of wealth thing. It's like, screw the border. When you're saying we have enough in America, we can give people, like we can give more people stuff than, or free education, or you went to school and spent money for student loans, but now you don't want to pay it back. Those kind of things. It's like, those are signs of communism becoming mainstream. And another thing I brought up was the phenomenon of Kevin Samuels and how he talked about women and high value men. These women think they're entitled to the achievements of men just because they're women. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. I work to earn what I got. And they're like, well, share it with me. It's like, what do you have? What do you bring to the table? Nothing. It was like, well, why would I share it with you? You don't bring any value to because you have it to give. And that's kind of like how communism, Marxism works.
Yeah, it's crazy that people actually trying to go there, because all they got to do is look at history and see how that system failed, and then look at what the interest behind communism. They was funded by big money cats here in America and in Britain. So it was a setup. It was a trick bag from the beginning, and all that ended up happening was the people lost control over their stuff, and it was controlled by a wealthy 1%. That's how it ended. So it was just a trick bag. The people getting their emotions, talking about what they finna get, and at the end of the day, they got everything taken away from them.
And beknownst to a lot of so-called black people is the communists have always wanted to target black people. Ever since the 1930s, they were sending people here from Moscow down to the South, trying to recruit the farmers and the sharecroppers to join communism. So what we're seeing with the Marxism and Black Lives Matter, this is just another iteration of this, where they come along and they say, well, you're oppressed, come join us. But what they don't realize, what our people nowadays don't realize is, with communism, Marxism, yeah, everybody has the same thing, but it's nothing. Everybody has nothing. So,
yeah. And it's like what you were saying about the Black Lives Matter, and it's just a repackaging of that old narrative. Is you know the people are they not doing the knowledge, man. It's so sad that we so forgetful of things like this. The first time this kind of stuff has happened. No, it's not. Um, it was something else I wanted to say, but it slipped my mind.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm saying why you regain your thought track. That even Martin Luther King, I know people are gonna get upset with this, but even Martin Luther King was in bed with communism and communists. When you look at Stanley Levison, if you want to pull that up, Grump, you know what I'm saying? They had a school out in Tennessee. I forget what the name of it is, but even the song "We Shall Overcome" was written by communists out of that school.
Yes, and I
So
got a interesting story about that. Mofax.
go ahead
That
and break it out
school,
to me.
that school was called the Highlander School,
That's what it was called. Thank you.
and it was right down the road from where I went to undergraduate. Was University of the South. Okay, it's an Episcopalian school, and so yeah, King went there and studied. Rosa Parks went there and studied. Several people that will become famous in the civil rights movement, they went through that school where they were taught different tactics, and that's very true. And so, just like today with Black Lives Matter, there was a certain tactic that they used, and it worked. It got the goal that they wanted. And so, the communists, they just used the failures of capitalism, and that's the thing. Is like capitalism is not a perfect system, and you do need slavery for capitalism. Once chattel slavery was taken out, it got replaced with debt slavery. So yes, but is communism better? No. So it's like it just shows we just trying to do the best we can in this world, and every time we try to do something, it gets corrupted.
And I was having this conversation with you saying this person, and they were trying to convince me that communism comes from the motherland and Africa. And I was like, if that's the case, then why did one king have more cows than the other king, and his wealth was identified by the number of his wives and cattle? That's bull crap. You see what I'm saying? But they'll package these things. Now, I'll say this. America has done this no favors, and capitalism has done itself no favors by being so oppressive that it opens up people to new ideas and new opportunities. So that's where it's failed. And really, we don't even operate under a system of capitalism anymore. This is more of an oligarchy, or what you want to call a corporatist or a technocracy. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
it's not really capitalism. Is buy for one, sell for two kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's created where you can have fair competition, no monopolies and all that. But if you look at the system nowadays, it's nothing but monopolies. You look at, you know what I'm saying, how the all the industries have been consolidated down. I mean, you look at all the stores that Amazon have put out of business. You look at, that there's no other. You saw what they did with, I think, what was it called? Parler, where, you know what I'm saying, where they just kind of like iced them out and said, no, you can't have another social media platform. That's how big Twitter and Facebook and these other companies are, that they can eliminate competition before it gets off the ground.
right.
So,
And they're using communism on the left, and on the right, the casino coin, bro. He pointed this out. And this is often left out about fascism. They're using that on the right. And so they tapped into that with the whole getting support up for Trump. They tapped into those fascist networks through 4chan and things like that, putting out, you mentioned memes the other night, and sigils. They tapped into all of
what
that.
is it called? Keek?
Yes, that's exactly what it was. Cake was a meme and a sigil.
If you want to pull that up, Grump, because maybe people don't know who Keek is, but you've seen them. Everybody's seen them. It's K-E-K.
Pronounce his name again? How you spell it?
K-E-K, Keek. It's that damn green frog.
Keek, what? Green frog?
Yeah, this is Keek. If you type in Keek, you'll see him. And this was a big fascist. That was a big time fascist meme.
Oh, okay, hold on. Pulling it up right now.
But see, what they do is the real people that rule this world, they operate off what's called Fabian socialism. It's not communist, Marxism, or fascism. They use those two wings to manipulate both sides and to basically putting you where they want you to go. And that's the Hegelian dialectic. You're saying it's a problem solution, was it problem reaction solution, or I get them mixed up. But it's just the point of basically they know how to manipulate you into going where they want you to go. It's kind of like when your girl says to you, you know, if she doesn't want you to go out, she said, babe, go out with your friends. You ain't been out all week. If she says that to you off the rip, you like, hold on, why she want me to go out? And you're going to stay at home. When she wants you to stay at home in the first place. But she manipulated you into doing what she wanted you to do, but thinking it was your choice.
Yeah, so did I have that right? That was Keek, right? That little meme?
Yeah, Keek. That was the meme frog. And that was what fascists were using.
Oh, okay, I get it now.
And that's what Antifa stands for, is anti-fascist. So they create the fascists, and then they come with Antifa is the anti-fascists, and they use those two wings to play off each other.
And right, and one thing I want to say though about that crabs in the barrel term is like I looked it up. I can actually Google it if y'all want, but they say crabs don't have the intelligence to realize that they're pulling each other down to, you know, prevent them from getting out the barrel. But you know, we have the intelligence to realize that we're pulling each other back. You know what I'm saying? They like to use that slogan like crabs are envious of each other, but crabs don't know what they're doing is causing that.
Well, and I'll go back to our conversation we were just having maybe 5 minutes ago when we said, when you feel like you're the only one that's going to make it out, a lot of times that those people want to pull you down because it's like, well, if Don leaves, or Grump leaves, if Bobby leaves, if Mo leaves, then what do we do? So it's like we got to hold them here. You know what I'm saying? We have to hold them here, you know what I'm saying, to have any hope for the collective. But they don't realize they're holding you back. They think it's like, you know, it's for the greater good, you know, and that's why they'll say, hey, man, hit the blunt. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I got to study for the SATs tomorrow. But it's like, even if it's subconsciously, it's like, hey, man, hit the blunt. Let's get lit. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be leaving soon anyway. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to kick it in there, then here come the guilt program.
And you end up not leaving soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I just wanted to share it with everybody what we was talking about with the sigil. It's a source that Lackman. Oh man, it's not showing up right.
What page is that on your book?
It's the Lackman, Gary Lackman, Dark Star Rising, Magic and Power in the Age of Trump. And in that book by Gary Lackman, he talks about this sigil creating. He talks about how they dipped into the religions. And that's what fascists did. When Hitler and them came to power, they already had a religion they made up that tapped into the old ways of the German people. And then they mixed it with New Age, and that's what it become, the Nazism. And so, yeah, these people are religious engineers, man. They know how to use these sigils, and they basically sorcerers, bro. The same way it's described in the scriptures, where you had a sorcerer in the king's court. We got people that know how to tap into this stuff that's connected to people that got power. This stuff ain't never stopped, man.
And I'm just going saying, affirm what Don is saying by saying that a lot of the presidents, including Abraham Lincoln, his wife was big on bringing in witchcraft practitioners to the White House. A lot of the presidents would seek the aid of psychic help to make major decisions. So it's always going to be, I hate to use the word clergy because that has a connotation of, you're saying, Christianity, but it's a clergy of witchcraft and
priesthood.
It's a priesthood, exactly. There's a priesthood that we don't see, and a big part of that priesthood are sciences, because that is the new religion. I keep saying that to people.
Exactly.
Science is the new religion.
The scientific priesthood. They referred to themselves that way in the 1800s.
Yep.
Coming out of France. Yeah.
I was going off of that Abraham Lincoln. I've been researching it, and I saw something there. Go ahead.
Yeah, Reagan, President Reagan wife was big on that too. That's something from recently. I think
Can
they
you
got
explain?
pictures.
Can you explain something off? Because I remember off the Boondocks with Aaron McGruder. He's the creator of the Boondocks. When Huey Friedman said that Ronald Reagan was the devil, what did he really mean about that? Because I didn't do research on that. You can educate me.
I mean, every president has been called the devils ever since. I don't know how going back. I mean, because if you look, the right wing called Obama devil. You know what I'm saying? Before that, Bush was called the devil. Some people call Trump the devil. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right. They was some stories about Michelle bringing in uh somebody that dealt with voodoo. I think they were saying that Michelle's mom's dealt with voodoo. So whether that
I
was
wouldn't
true or
doubt
not,
that
I don't
because I
know.
know Black Lives Matter definitely deal with um I don't want to say voodoo, but it's what's the East African I mean excuse me, the West African religion. A what is it called?
Yoruba.
Yeah, Yoruba, that's it.
Yeah, that's from the Nigerian. Yeah, that's where the voodoo comes from. Um, from Yoruba traditions, I believe most of the traditions in voodoo come from Yoruba.
Yeah, so I mean, these people. I mean, when you say these kind of things, people look at you and they kind of roll your eyes. It's like, but you got to understand, these people don't leave anything up to chance. Everything they do is, I'm not gonna say everything, but a lot of things they do are based off of the celestial calendar, um, off of pagan holidays. And I mean, they're very big on that astrology, all of those things. So
Right. Exactly.
I mean, it's pretty. Like I said, it's a pretty amazing stuff. But the way you conquer that is if you live a small life. And what I mean by a small life is enjoy the people in your circle. I think the internet has been more harm than good to the masses because it's like now you have more problems to worry about that you didn't even knew existed yesterday. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, why you worry about the Uyghurs? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you behind on your rent and you worry about the Uyghurs, or you know what I'm saying, or things of that nature. It's pretty amazing. Um,
That's
Hey,
right.
can you see what Stormy Blue said? I don't comprehend how one could explain the magnificence of the universe without some sort of science. Can you y'all think y'all got an answer for that?
I
no, but
mean,
when we say, okay, let me say, let me clarify because I brought science up. When I say science, I'm not talking about physics or chemistry or those kind of things. Their science is probability, statistics, um, modeling. Like the way they say the world's going to come to an end in 12 years based off of models on global warming. There's no proof. It's just that we created a computer model, and if the computer model is true, it's kind of like this. I'll give you an example. That's like if y'all play Madden or 2K. Let's just say if you had this year you're gonna have the Lakers and the Nets in the finals, right? In the NBA finals. And let's say, okay, I'm gonna let the Nets and the Lakers run a 7-game series on 2K, and however that ends up coming out, that's how we're gonna predict the winner of the NBA finals. That's the science that they do. And it's like it's so many variables that you can't account for in a model. But that's what they believe in. And if you say now that global warming won't end the world in 12 years, there's certain people that think you're crazy because they adhere to the science of the religion of science.
okay. The way I look at it, I see where Mo Fast is coming from. I look at it more like the cave analogy that we used earlier. All the fear mongering about the world ending, that's the shadows on the cave.
Mm-hmm.
That pseudoscience, that misuse of using math and that misuse of math to come up with these statistics and things like that. That's like the fire because people put their faith in science without even thinking about certain things, or they feel like, oh, this is outside of my expertise, I can't figure this out, so on and so forth. And so this pseudoscience is being used to engineer the society.
Okay, I'm gonna give you another example of how they use numbers, and as that's a great term, pseudoscience. They'll say the biggest threat to black people are the police, because they say police kill more people per capita, more black people per capita than white people. Which, okay, you made two, you conflated two things. We all know that black people kill more black people than anybody else, but they want to have the conversation about the police. And you're saying it is true that you're saying per capita they kill more black people than the cops do kill more black people than anybody else per capita. But if you want to say what is the biggest cause of death to black people, it will be, saying, the violence that we bring upon ourselves. But that's like I said, that's how they take numbers and math and statistics, and it's kind of like when you compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan. It's like, okay, when you look at LeBron's stats, he got to be better than Michael Jordan. It's like, well, you're not looking at him in the proper context either. You know what I'm saying? It's all about, and that's the tricky thing about statistics. And Jay-Z said this, and even him saying this has been very misleading. He says, women lie, men lie, but numbers don't lie. But if you take numbers out of context, you can make numbers lie.
Exactly. There's a saying that figures don't lie, but liars figure.
There you go. Does that make sense? Hopefully the person we were talking to, they'll reply back. Hopefully that made sense. We're not dissing chemistry and physics and things of that nature. That's not what we're doing.
We got back with you.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you, Stormy. So yeah, but that's why. But and I'm gonna bring this up, and I don't know, Don, do you live? I live in Virginia, and this is what they're doing. They're saying that you can't take advanced level math into the 11th and 12th grade year. They're dumbing the kids down. If you don't understand math and can't read, then you can't live in this world and understand how you're being manipulated. If you say 75% and can't put that into context and say, if I have 100 of something and 75 of them are of this population, then you can't put that into context. And that's where they want people at. They want people dumb. And that's why they're dumbing down the schools. That's why they're dumbing down the curriculum. They even dumbed down the grading system. When I was in school, a 93 to 100 was an A. Now it's 90 to 100 is an A.
Yes.
It's like, hold on. What are you doing here? They want a dumber society, because a dumber society is more easily to manipulate.
Yeah, when it comes to the math, the example right there, especially one thing about math, man, it's all about repetition. You don't have to be very creative person at all to be very good at math. All you have to do is just do the work so that you learn the pattern. And it's so, man, that's messed up if they're gonna keep the kids or the young adults from learning about something, or not letting people learn about something like math until they get to a certain age, where you got in other countries like India, so many of the people coming over being engineers. That's a math heavy type of profession. Well, over there, they have school on Saturdays, and they focus on math. You got rooms full of little kids just doing math problems. And so it's like, that's the kind of society, if that's the kind of society we want, I don't get their understanding. Like, on one hand, if they want to have a dumbed down 2-level society, that's what you do. But for them to say, when they just say it like that, as if that's a good thing, that these people can't learn this math until they're about to finish high school, that's nah.
But you know what, though? Again, guess what? The reasoning behind them saying we're going to limit advanced level math until the 11th grade, they're saying because it's equity for black people and people of color. See the trick bag? It's like, well, we'll slow everybody down so the Negroes can keep up.
Yeah, and that'll be the excuse. It's like blame us for the education system being in trouble, and no, it was built like that from the beginning. I mean, just I have experience in education, public and private, and I've had conversations with people that teach at elite private schools, and say as a math teacher, you got middle school math you teaching, and so you got a student come to class one day, they don't understand the what fractions or something like that. Well, you let the administrator know it's gonna be two grown-ups that's gonna get with this student outside of class, because math class ain't every day. It's on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, maybe. All right. The next time class meet, that student got their fractions. So nobody is being held back. Everybody's moving forward. They don't have that kind of same system in free schools, the public schools. So
Well, they do actually, Don. They do, but it's the inverse. They say we're going to hold everybody back instead of bringing that one student up to the rest of the crowd. They'll say we'll slow the crowd down to keep up with the one person that's behind. And
yeah,
that's communism at work, folks.
yeah, it's unfortunate. It's like you get what you pay for, but really it's kind of like what do we expect? We live in a system where it's like that. Money is king. So it makes perfect sense to me. I don't like it, but it makes perfect sense to me that if you not paying for your student, your child to learn, I mean directly, not through taxes or something like that, but if you're not directly coming out of your pocket, uh, then hey, they might not get a good education.
So can y'all sum up that school system like with the Truman Show? Can y'all find a way to like translate that into what's going on now that most people are not aware of? It could be in the school system, it could be overall life, it could be the country, America. Y'all get what I'm saying? Or in the streets.
Well, I go ahead and start and just keep mine brief. So I want to hear what Mo Fats got to say about this. But what I see the connection with the school system, it's like the conversation I had with a guy a few days ago. Is the way we're taught in our school system teaches us how to learn. So much of what we learn in high school, we think about, oh, we didn't need this after we graduated. Well, this was a waste of time in this class. I never used anything I learned in this class in real life. That's missing the point. There's a bigger thing going on with bells at one point about bells and timing, and everything's always shifting. You got somebody coming in one day teaching you this, you move on to the next class or the next year, it's a totally new person that's dictating to you how things should go. That trains our minds in a way for, okay, this boss left, another boss replaces them. This person don't have to have a understanding of us. They don't have to have a relationship with us. They don't have to know about how we feel and what we think. They just the boss. We just listen to what they say. So that teaches a person how to live their life in ways that go beyond what did you learn in this algebra book.
And I'll add to what Don said, because he laid it out so perfectly. And going back to what he said about the bells, it conditions you. It's like Pavlov's dog. It's like when the bell rings, you move. And it's like it teaches you to be regimented. It's okay. I had to be at work by this time, and I have to go to lunch at this time, and then I have to go to this meeting by this time. And they make it normal where your time is dictated to how it's used, which, to be honest with you, a free person dictates how they use their time. So what they've done with school is teach you how to be a worker. I mean, that's the whole point of school. And if you notice in Truman Show, if the timing ever got thrown off, everything else is thrown off in the whole production of the Truman Show. It's like, well, if one person is late on their spot or on their mark, everything else is thrown off. And that's the same way here. When you start having people say, you know what, I'm going to homeschool my kids. I'm going to not let them, so I'm going to teach them different stuff. That starts to make for highly educated society. And what you're going to see is you're going to start seeing a clamping down of free thought. We've been here before, and you know what? This always comes at, and not to digress, but this always comes after decadence comes the free thinkers, because we had this coming out of the 1940s after World War II. World War II, we had an abundance of natural resources and just spoils of war. And so when the people came home, they had their kids grew up to be the hippies. And the hippies started questioning, like, why does it have to work this way? Why do we have to operate under capitalism? And, and so they were like, okay, now we got to get them back in line. So we're at the same point now. We had, you're saying, a good run of decadence. Now it's the same thing. The kids grew up with, these kids don't know anything about struggle. And I'm not being ageist here. I'm just saying that's the beauty of what we've lived in, that you can have anything you want to eat brought to your house within 30 minutes. That's the society we live in. Or if we want to know something, it's right at our touch of our fingers. So you kids start questioning like the norms of society. So that's why school is even more important. It's like, now we got to get them back in line. We got to get them back into, being answering to the bell. And bow, that's a whole nother story. But that's what they want us at. They want another generation of workers, but the workers they're going to have, and I think Don mentioned this, is it's going to be a 2-level system. You're going to have people that actually go out and are essential to society, and that's why they cropped up this word essential during this whole pandemic. And then you have the non-essentials that are going to be stuck in their house and living off rations.
Yeah, I would say more facts that it's already here, brother. The 2 levels, it might just be more pronounced now that we got the technology and things like that, where we can make connections faster and clearer. But yeah, man, going back to I think Woodrow Wilson, man, spoke about the 2-level system and how there's elite high schools, bro. Like on the East Coast, they got a group of elite high schools that are like the junior version of the Ivy League.
It's one right up the road from me in Alexandria, Virginia.
Yeah, and so these at one of them, they even have a kind of imitation of the Skull and Bones cult that they have at Yale. Yes. So you got high school students being initiated into secret orders as high schoolers. I mean, these are the elite kids, man. These high schools, you might be paying $60,000 a year easy to go to this kind of high school.
And look, it's so cold because I had a co-worker that child got into that school in Alexandria, because I live in Northern Virginia. And it's so cold that she actually sold her house and moved to Alexandria so her son could attend that school. So, right. I mean, this is, I mean, we used to think that, you had time to figure out what you wanted to do when you got to high school, but people's life track is being decided in like the end of elementary school or throughout middle school. It's deciding what you're going to be in life that early. And that's why us as a people, we have to start taking life seriously earlier. Because we tell our kids, well, you can kind of goof off until you get to high school. And it don't work like that. And just to make another point, Don, if I turn it back over to you, there's even 2 levels of diplomas now in high school. You have the advanced, which that's kind of like college prep. And then you have this, like, you showed up and went to all your classes and
okay. Yeah, I feel what you're saying. Go ahead, bro.
No, I'm just saying it's crazy because I didn't even know that. I'm like, cause with my daughter, like I said, I have a 17-year-old daughter. She came home and was like, can I do regular or advanced? And I'm like, what is, huh? And it's like, but they used to call it for us college prep. But now it's actually like they actually giving people degrees just for doing like your basic general math, your 4 Englishes, and like 1 science, which it's the equivalent kind of to a GED. Not knocking a GED, But I'm like this, well, why don't the kids just go get a GED and not waste their time? And then they can start working on a craft or a skill.
Yeah, and they got rid of the trade school system, or I don't know for sure if they got rid of it, but it was something that wasn't really advertised, and that's really what I think what help out the most is getting people ready to just to work, because so many people, man, they can't just take 4 years and find themselves, man. They got might have elderly parents. They parents might not be have they stuff together, and they got to look out for their little brothers and sisters. So
and that's the difference between me and my father's generation, because my father's generation, like you said, they came out of high school with a skill, whether it was bricklaying or concrete or carpentry or automotive, where they can go right into the workforce and be value adding, or at least make a living. If it was, it would be a lower living, but at least they could make a living. Now these kids come out of school and they don't have any skills.
Yeah, and it's like, that's why I can't get upset with the people that have these huge student loan debts, because society told them in different ways that going to college is just what you do, and all the different ways it could be promoted, it was promoted. So I don't think it's right to sit up there and say to those young people who had everything telling them this is the right thing to do, nah, suck it up. Nah, I they got to do right, man. I think they need to clear out the debts, the ones that are just super high, man, because it's like, come on, can't nobody live under that amount of debt.
But you know what though, the balance, how the balance sheet works. You just can't clear out debt. Somebody has to absorb that debt, and that's where we got on a very slippery slope of, how can I put it? Yes, okay, you went to college, so you know what I'm about to say. A lot of people took out more loans than they needed to live off of student loans. And I went to North Carolina A&T, which is a historically black college. And the day that the financial aid checks came out was like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna say this, I don't mean like this, but like a nigga holiday.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm saying. You couldn't find a pair of Jordans, a throwback jersey. I'm showing my age now. I'm saying you couldn't find a pair of Jordans, a throwback jersey, a bottle of Hennessy, you know what I'm saying, a bag of weed, and all of Greensboro. And I'm just keeping it real because I participated in it. But I was wise enough to know I'm only going to take enough money I need to actually go to school. But you had people buying cars on student loans. All these spring break trips were funded by student loans. So I'm like I said, it's a slippery slope. Should they have to pay back the full debt? No. But you have to hold them responsible because they were adults at the time when they took out the loans. This is like all of us that have been in trouble with credit cards at one time or another because we didn't understand interest rates. And saying,
but that's true, man. I got to give you that point. I do, because I was thinking from the perspective of somebody that's really bought into the whole story, and they like, hey, I got to do this to have a life, to be somebody. But yeah, you're right. There are people that misused it, and it's like, how can you tell whether somebody actually put that loan to their schooling or put it to some other way? So yeah, that would be too hard to try to investigate and all that stuff. And that's the thing. It's sad. The people misused it. They in a way messed it up for the people that actually were trying to do the right thing. So those young people that didn't have guidance, I know for me, my whole thing was I got to get a scholarship. That's why I played sports. That's why I took this the ACT in Alabama. It's called the ACT. I took that joint 3 times, man, so I had to take it 3 times so I could get the score to where my school would be paid for if I chose to go in the state of Alabama. Right. So it was like I had to do those things for myself. I did get help from other people. I'm not saying that I just got it all together, But yeah, I seen my guys I grew up with, they fell through the cracks. So many of them because they didn't have a parent telling them, "Hey, have you checked on these scholarships?" Because man, it's thousands and thousands of scholarships, and some of them joints you got to start getting ready for when you're in the ninth grade. Like if you get to the 11th grade and you don't have a plan, in some cases it's a wrap already, bro. But so many of the young people they don't know that.
But you know, like I know, it takes a hell of a lot of effort to run up $100,000 in student loan debt for people our age. Cause I'm assuming, how old are you? I'm 40. I don't know. I mean, I think you said 30 something, right?
He got booked out. I think he was born in 89, 87. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So what
Don-
I'm saying is, a lot of these people, and I mean, let me be honest with you, I think the kids are taking a lot of blame, but it was a lot of adults that were getting student loans. You know, I mean, they were going to school and they would sign up for 12 hours. They get the check, then they would drop their classes. And they would just keep repeating that. You know what I'm saying? As long as, you know, you would sign up for 12 hours, you could get a FAFSA check. And then, like I said, before you dropped out, Don, I was saying people of our age, I think you're 30 something, correct?
Yes.
When we were paying for college, it was hard as hell to run up $100,000 in student loan debt.
Yeah, that's just how fast the prices are going up.
But now, but I'm gonna explain to you why the prices went up, because the colleges said, "Are y'all loaning that much money out?" You know what I'm saying? They weren't getting the money. The kids was getting the money and tricking it off.
Yeah, they.
So the college like, let me get mine. You know what I'm saying? Let me go up on this tuition.
Yeah, nobody is innocent. Nobody is innocent in this thing.
We got to think about homeschooling though. That's what I'm saying. Like I had pulled that video up to see if y'all had understood.
What homeschooling? I'm a big proponent of homeschooling. If you have the and I would say this. I would say we probably can't do homeschooling because everybody doesn't have a parent that can stay home. But we probably can do community schooling where, you know what I'm saying, we could probably rent a building and homeschool our kids together. If you're that pressed about your kids going to a white supremacist school, get with people in your community. I mean, there's tools out here I keep mentioning Khan Academy, KAHAN Academy. You know what I'm saying? It walks you through all the way from 1+1 and ABC all the way up to college level courses. So there's no excuse why your kids can't learn at home. It's about the discipline of the parent. And to be honest with you, the quality education my kids got this year from the public schools, we're seriously considering homeschooling, because I think the veil was lifted on public education this year with how they handled homeschool.
Yeah, I think this year, or 2020, people that were homeschool proponents, you know, definitely got a one up. Where I stand on homeschool, before I spoke to a guy that's involved in a really kind of revolutionary way of education, I was leaning more towards homeschooling. You know, I don't have my own family. Yeah, I look forward to that. And so that's one of the things I was thinking about. But then there's an issue if we don't think very deeply about this stuff. There could be an issue with homeschooling too that I learned about from this guy. He was talking about how in many ways homeschooling is like a way to remove ourselves from a system. And that kind of stuff is a pattern that we do in our country, because so many of the systems, we see the problems and then we say, hey, we just gonna drop out, we just gonna check out of that, we're gonna do something else. The rulers, they know how to deal with these kind of things, so they're already co-opting homeschool in a way. And so we just have to think. I have a lot more to learn. I like homeschooling from what I see on the surface, but I think it's something deeper about it that I need to learn about.
Yeah, that's why I'm recommending community schooling, where you can have a small group of parents say, you know what, I'll do Monday, I'll do Tuesday, I'll do Wednesday. And you've seen right now that the kids are learning off laptops anyway. And to be honest with you, I don't know who, I mean, I'm just speaking for my kids. They have a sucky interface. You know I mean, Khan Academy is far superior, and they're learning basically off of Zoom. And it's like, so what's the point of? And I'm saying this from the aspect of I'm not dissing public schools in the form of like, you know what I'm saying, the basic education, but you see now that education comes with indoctrination as well with the agendas that they're pushing in schools. With the, you know what I'm saying, the more than two genders and the early sex education and the critical race theory, where, you know what I'm saying, they basically teaching black kids that they're victims. That's the problem I have with public schools now.
Yeah, you're right, man. I mean, on both levels with the indoctrination, that's my main thing. That's my main issue. Because I know that, and we all know there are strong public schools. So many times it's got to do with, you know, what zip code you live in. Money plays a part in it at the end of the day, because even in those good public schools, they're around money, the areas so often. So you got to have money in the first place to even live there, to even get your kids accepted into the school so many times. So money is the key in this country, man.
Okay. And I'm gonna say this. I mean, because I never lived in a wealthy neighborhood before. You know what I'm saying? Either being a parent or a student. I was always like middle class, lower middle class. But because my parents, my father's he was an educator. You know what I'm saying? He's retired now, and my mother was a social worker. And I would say out to all the parents and would be want to be parents, your child gets the education that you push for. If you put the pressure on the teacher, your child's going to get a good education. If you show up to the PTA meetings and the parent teacher conferences and take an active role in your child's education, they'll get a good education. But if you just get your child dressed every day and put them on the bus and then meet them at the bus, your child is going to get a mediocre education. So I would say this, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is your child you're talking about, and this is your child's future. You should be down at that schoolhouse every chance you get saying, hey, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? I want to know. I mean, you could ask questions like, I need a written update, weekly update on my child's performance, and your teacher has to comply. I mean, you have your teacher's email address. I mean, but a lot of times what we want to do is just once we get the child outside the house, we don't care anymore. It's like it's the teacher's responsibility. And that's why, that's why a lot of people are really upset with this homeschooling or this remote learning right now, because they are not able to put their kid out the house. And they're really mad because it's like, I don't want to be bothered with this little mug every day. It's like, when y'all gonna open schools back up? So
yeah, that's so true
sad.
about what you said about talking to the teacher, because I can say, just from my experience, when I had a parent come to me, it wasn't even that I would be showing their kid favoritism, like, oh, if their kid miss a problem, I'm gonna just not count it wrong. No, that wasn't the case. But what it made me do was it made me be more conscious of that student, because the parent would come to me and say they're having a problem in this area. Then I know how to tailor what I'm teaching to help that student. Whereas the young person ain't gonna come to me and be like, hey, they might not feel like, they could tell me as a teacher certain weaknesses they have, but their parent know, and their parent can come and tell the teacher, hey, would you look out for my kid like that? And it's not like a big deal. And it's not like, you're getting the teacher to give your kid a cheat code or something.
No, what it does is it's kind of like when you go to a restaurant. If you sit down and you let them fill your glass when they have time to fill your glass, and you know what I'm saying, you don't bother the waiter, you get the service that you get the service that they give you. But if you stay on your waiter and be like, hey, my glass getting kind of low, can you bring me a warm, wet napkin? Can you do this? I don't want this. I want this. You know what I'm saying? You'll get a higher level of service. And I'll say this to parents listening right now: you can go in a classroom like, no, I don't want my child sitting in the back. You're going to move them. And the teacher will accommodate you in most cases. So it's all about, a lot of times kids get poor educations because the parents not involved. Like if I walk in there on the when I see when my child's sitting, and if they got into the back and to the left, nah, you need to put them center, front, center.
Yeah, it's something we got to be very just intentional about being parents. And I'm learning as much as I can because there is no manual to that to being a parent. But I could just look at the examples in my own family, looking at the my cousins that raising their kids and stuff like that, and how they were raised and things like that. And it's definitely something that we can't let up 1 second. It's like you can't sleep 1 second in the sense of giving some aspect of your child's growth and development over into somebody else's hands. Because the second we do that for even 1 second, they come in with that foolishness. So it's really such a big job, man, to be a parent. It's such a huge responsibility.
Yeah, but a lot of parents are on autopilot. And I'm gonna say this one thing is, to be honest with you, a lot of these poorly performing schools are nothing but baby penitentiaries. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I need you to warehouse my child between 8 and 4. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the child goes there and it keeps them out of trouble, keeps them out of the streets. And then they come home and then they get on the PS4 or you know what I'm saying, the iPad, and then they eat dinner, they go to bed, and they go back to the penitentiary again. And that's the reality for a lot of kids.
Yeah, and that's how you can tell. One quick way to tell if the school your kids are in is one of those types of schools is from talking with the teachers. How do they speak about what their role is? If they speaking more about keeping kids in line, keeping them from acting up, those kind of disciplinary things, then you're dealing with that kind of school that Mo Facts just mentioned. But if you're dealing with a school that is actually about putting your kid up to be the best that they can be, putting them on the giving them a platform to do that, it's about service. Literally, how can I help you? If your teacher or the administrators at the school is coming at it like, how can I help you? That's a good school. If they coming at it like, how can we keep your child from acting a fool? That's a bad school.
And another thing I want to point out, just to say, you know what I'm saying, follow up on what Don was saying, was look and see what your child's teacher background is. A lot of these teachers are what they call lateral entry. They didn't even go to school for education. They went to school for, and this goes back full circle about these degrees, useless degrees a lot of people have. They went and got a useless degree. They can't find a job in their field, so they say, you know what, I'll go teach. And they have no soft skills for education. And a real school will have real teachers that went to school for education and have a major in education. So I'll say that as well.
Okay. That's an interesting point. I just put it to you like this. My background, when I was a teacher, my background was computer science.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in the public side, they was like, you need to go to graduate school and education to become a full-time teacher in the public school system.
But they give you 3 years to do that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me say, because I'm just speaking from North Carolina, and my view might be antiquated. But I think they give you 3 years to get your certifications, right?
Okay, but so this goes into what you were saying about the indoctrination. When you get your degree in education, you're being taught how to indoctrinate on behalf of the state. Mm-hmm. That's where the teachers are taught. So having that education degree, depending on what you want your kid to, how they want them to come up, it could not be what you're looking for. So on the private school side, there was a computer science program. There wasn't even a computer science program in the public school system. Mm-hmm. What did they want? They wanted somebody that knew computer science. I had those kids in the class doing projects that I was just finished working on as an undergraduate. I had a parent come in because she was a programmer and her child was failing my programming class. So she came to the class, student conference. The vice principal came in. So she started by saying, I took your assignments around to my colleagues and they said somebody would need 5 years experience to do this programming problem you giving these kids. Right. And I said, okay, I understand your son having problems in the class. It's another little boy having problems in the class. Everybody else got A's and B's. The vice principal got up and walked out because it was done. The issue was, yes, these young people can learn these things that some people are offering in college learning. They can learn it in high school. But education.
I guess let me clarify. I guess you're talking about what, middle school, high school level?
I'm talking about high school level.
Yeah, right. I'm talking about when they bring people off the street that may have a, let's see, like a biology degree or something of that nature, right? And they throw them in these early education classes, 2nd, 3rd grade. You had to have the soft skills to teach children that small.
Oh yeah, definitely. When we dealing with the real little kids, I don't have the patience. That's why I'm not trying to deal with no little kids. Yeah, you need somebody that can do that. I just, I would say school is not the place where we learn soft skills. So I would say that's more like a female kind of trait, a nurturing kind of thing. So I would expect a young woman to have a position like that just off the strength that she given to being nurturing.
Right, but they might put you in there and say, you know what? Well, especially in black schools, you know how it goes. They're like, we're gonna put you because you're big and you're black and with the black boys to keep under control.
Yeah. That key term would keep them under control. That's already saying to me that this ain't about learning. It's about
warehousing.
Yeah.
Warehousing. You're basically like a CEO. It's like just keep them from, like, you know what I'm saying, shivving each other. You know what I'm saying? But that's the reality in these low performing schools. And the kids know it. That's why they drop out so fast. Because they're like, man, it's some bull crap. They get it. I don't fault the kids for it either.
Yeah, they get it. Before I drop off, I just want to leave another reference. It's a dude that wrote a book, last name Gatto, Gatto. This dude went to he was in a public school system in Harlem, I believe, and he did something different. He took the kids, basically, he gave them independent studies. So if they wanted to learn about being working in fashion in New York City, well, he got them linked up with somebody that actually worked in the fashion industry, and they learned those little things about reading, writing, arithmetic along the way as they were working with people that were doing real life things, and it was very successful. And so it's like, yeah, we know we can take kids from the ghetto, these so-called kids that can't be reached, and then they could be beating the kids in private school in these areas once you give them the education that touches them, that reaches them.
So it's John Taylor Gatto, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, John Taylor Gatto. That's him.
Bro, I gotta give it to you, Don. Man, you got it, man. Your references, and you're saying, and that's why I'm more like Bobby in the sense of I can feel intuitively that we're being scammed. And then I go backwards and prove how we're being scammed, right? Because you mean without proof, you don't have any case. But you know what I'm saying, the level of work you put together on that book, man, and the references that you can quote, it's, you know what I'm saying, it's pretty, not pretty impressive. It is super.
Well, I thank you, brother, and I'm learning from you. I'm learning from Grump. Y'all, just like I was telling Grump, but Grump got them beats. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting up here needing some background music for my podcast. Here, my man go with the beats. That's a skill I don't have.
Mofax make beats. You got a website.
Okay. And then I'm just learning about Mo Facts and this brother doing his thing. And so yeah, man, I need my people, man. I'm not too proud to say when I need some help. Yeah, I need as much help as I can get to get to where I'm trying to go. And
can I touch on that right quick? When you say, I mean, I don't want people to underestimate when you say we need our people. Oftentimes, when you go to college and you get a decent job, you become isolated. You become, and that's I don't think people can understand that feeling, because it's like you might have some black people you work with, but they don't really embrace their blackness, and it's like you become isolated. I mean, because you go to work 9 to 5, and then you don't really have people that's tapped into like improving our situation, and it has a real psychological effect on people like us if you're not strong minded.
yeah, man. Well, I'm gonna have to sign on out, fellas. I'm getting tired, man. I gotta get some food in me, man. I just jumped right on this live. I ain't even have myself all together, boy. I just had to had to get it in though. But
Well, appreciate it, man. Thank you. This is Donald Oliver Davis' book right here, The Introduction to Art and Science of Worldview Warfare. I got the
Hey,
link. Yeah, go ahead.
hey Grump, auto book coming soon.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
don't.
speak. I'm gonna speak it into existence. I told you. I'm gonna help you crowdsource it,
I
because
appreciate that so much.
we got to bring the message to the people.
That's
Hey,
facts.
I'm ready, man. I'm getting to work now on the audio side, and I'm gonna be hitting you up in a few days to let you see what I got so far, man. We can take it from there.
Nah, that's what's up.
All
All
right.
right, you brothers, take it easy, man. I'm out.
Yes, sir. And I want to say about his book is that he has a lot of references in the back. People will think like half the book is this is the index of like references of where he had got this information from on technology and military. Like it's like you read his book, or like when you like trying to do like a study on it, you get to go to the reference that he had put on the specific page, and that turns into another book. Like the study of what was it, The Seat of Consciousness in Ancient Literature by McFarlane, Lynn R.E. in 2015. You can just look that up easily. Like, god dang, this he did his research. That's all I gotta say. This book is like a project lifestyle right here. I don't know how the heck he did it, but yeah. I'm about to say I think you out, boy. Your phone probably got mute or something.
No, I'm here. I was letting you promote his book.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, overall right there. Just
Yeah,
the
and like I
index is
said,
good.
we need it. Like I said, I want to help him in any way possible get that book audio. You know what I'm saying, audio book, because as I was saying to Bobby, we had to meet people where they are at, and a lot of times we had to understand them. And when I say them, because we were once at that point. If somebody came to me 10 years ago and say you ain't black, I wouldn't receive it as I do now.
Yeah, Bobby said he learned too. Like he's passionate in what he's saying, what he doing. What he say sometimes may sound absolute, or when he say you don't need the laws and everything. You see how people might take it literal, like in certain aspects of. Yeah, I get what you're saying though, because the first thing you be like, "Oh, I ain't black," you be like, "Oh, you're cool ass nigga." Ah, what the hell? House slave nigga, like you know how people is back.
Because they those people are stuck in a mindset. You know, if you take black away from me, what am I?
Exactly, it's like a identity crisis.
Exactly. Well said.
I had dropped the link to that book on Amazon in the descriptions as we speak, and I'm gonna do it on the descriptions after the live too. If you going be 50 pages. Hold on, we said I did make a book. I got good game for a white link. This dude is you a troll, man. Yo, you young guys are funny. Brainwash. Yeah, man, but yeah, man. I dropped that. That's the link tied to his book. And you can't just you could do all read in one sitting, but you're gonna have to keep coming back through it periodically, and you're gonna have to. I don't want to highlight in this book yet because I want to keep it fresh. But it'll be certain stuff that when you read, you like it don't make sense, and then I have to hit him up, or I have to go on his thing reference in the back and look up the book that he got it from. Like this one part right here, he explained. Let me go to it. The winds and tides. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. 1 second. I'm trying to go to it. I'm not trying to crease the crevices. There we go. The winds. I don't know if you ever see that. You see the wind zone? It says trade wind zone. He got so deep in the book that he used energy and tides, and he used that as a similarity of like, let's say for certain towns that have a lot of bloodshed. It don't matter what race, it's just like that energy, that little tide. So it's constantly going to be going into that like that same direction. You can't go against the grain in certain areas that have that much energy with it. So one of my lives he explained, I gotta clip that out so he explain it, but if he keep coming back with it again, it's real deep. But just get the book, man. I get the book. Y'all gonna have to take breaks and like, start reading it. Yeah, I'll be good. My bad, I got notification from AO thing talking about Cam Coldheart just OD.
Who?
I have no idea. Oh, Cam Coldheart is the rapper who got beat up by the baby. My bad, I just got thrown off with that. But yeah, I just saw it. What's up, Mo?
No, I was asking who. What you were saying?
Yeah, I had get a reference off the book, and then I had got a notification from the Big Facts podcast. He going live about a rapper that's OD and fans are laughing about it. So I know he kind of like all over the place. Oh damn, Ty, he just ordered. He said, "All right, not showing you live. Okay, Cam Coldheart. Yeah, man. I got notification too from Big Facts. See, if you did not feel it, you're in good spirit. I appreciate y'all the support on that, and definitely Random Thoughts know who you is, Mo Facts. He's like, oh, you got Mo Facts in here? That's a big step. I was like, dang. So he in tune with you, bro. What you gotta say about that?
Hey, bro. Like I said, we gotta stay working. You know what I mean? And I like coming over here because we got. You can't have that conversation we had tonight anywhere else.
Heck
Where
no.
you have somebody like, Bobby and then me and then Don, and then have a civil conversation that didn't turn into a insult match or people being offended. I think if nothing else, we set a good example for young brothers, how to have a discourse, even if we don't see eye to eye on everything. It's okay. We don't have to all agree.
True that. I'm glad. And same thing with Bobby. I know Bobby, he passionate in what he do. And I see how you and Dawn is like seeking to understand first. So that's good methods that y'all taking, good approaches. And at the end of the day, whether or not, have to agree or disagree, but we still, got each other at the end of the day. Like
And
how
I
Dawn
definitely
said,
agree I definitely agree with Bobby on that intuition thing, because a lot of times our first decision is the right decision. And we convince ourselves otherwise. If you start moving off your gut, I think you get a lot more done that way.
and exactly. So that's what he and what Don said, that he's saying that just because sometimes he's sharpening the iron. He said if that is his neighbor, he gets to sleep. Don't have to sleep with one eye open at night.
Right.
You had kind of get what he was saying about that.
Yeah, because what it is that if we come to an understanding, it's like, even if, like, say we all come from different clans or different tribes, if we all border on the same, on each other, it's like, okay, we have an understanding, even though we have different cultures, different viewpoints. I understand where you're going to take it, so we can come to some kind of at least a peace treaty, or understanding to say, okay, we're different, but we operate on these things the same way.
It's different, but y'all all got like the same thing. Y'all want better for our community,
That's it, and that's it. That's all. Yep.
And I definitely appreciate that. So what else you want to cover? You want before you hop off?
I mean, I'm gonna let the alives decide. I mean, at this point, if saying they want to talk about anything, like I said,
Yeah.
it's just
In the live, what's going on, y'all? What y'all want Mo Facts to cover on again, or that y'all didn't have understand from, or give his input on something?
I will while we waiting on that. I will tell them go check out the new live I did last night.
Oh yeah,
If they haven't, because it ties into what we were talking about tonight about sigils and casting of spells through mass media.
yeah. Give me 1 second, real quick. Mo.
Are you good?
Okay, boom. Loading. Definitely gotta drop that in the description after though this. So always be good to home. There's some comments. It says virtue stay peaceful. Virtue is patience. I don't know if I pronounced that right. My bad. I had dropped the link of your live though. Pay attention to
Okay.
everything, and the truth will reveal itself. What do you mean by that specifically for the people who don't know?
You had to pay attention to all sides of a topic to get to the truth. And when you pay attention, it's like, okay, to everything and not just because like oftentimes we want to pay attention to things we agree with. You know, you have to pay attention to the things that we agree with and then the opposition to it. And then we can figure out, okay, here's where the truth lies. Why is this person telling me this? Why they want me to think this way? It might be that the opposition is telling you right. So yeah, I would just say pay attention to everything and the truth will reveal itself. Um, Oftentimes we want to go in thinking we know and we just want to have our thoughts validated.
Yeah, you said you want to have our thoughts validated. What do you mean, like just echo chamber, or just for?
It's kind of like, no, what it's like is say you think you know something, so you're going to seek out a source just to prove what you think you know. Instead of saying, you know what, let me go find out what the truth is and let me read up on, okay, this guy says this guy says that, this guy says this, and then I'll weigh them against each other, and then I'm saying the truth will end up coming out.
That's
It's kind of like the
it's
police,
just
right? It's kind of like it's like a cop going in and saying, I know Grump did it, now I'm going to prove it. Instead of just saying, okay, let me collect all the evidence I can collect, and then they'll figure out who actually did it. Does that make sense?
it do make sense. Yeah, that perfect way. Perfect. I like the analogies you be using and all that. And tell these people, seeking the truth, like how you explain that analogy, you could get it from books or just audibles. You ain't gotta read book. I think this is on Audible right here. This book right here was provided to me from when Young Pharaoh has YouTube channel up, and
I think it's actually on YouTube as well on the audiobook.
oh, this is on
So they only
YouTube.
had to pay anything. Yes, I believe
It had a
so.
lot of bad, yeah, it had a lot of bad reviews about this author saying that he went blind. We ain't trying to hear that shit. But anyways, this is when I realized that the Arabs was first to successfully enslave many of our ancestors in Africa. And then you had the Spaniards, and you had converting beliefs and all that. So this, oh, even Asians, invading and all that. So this is many lost information, for our people right here. It's a long, I realize, a long thing. I'm not even fully done with it, but it's long to digest. But we going all the way back. Like I'm talking about, yeah, I just don't know, man. Keep thinking that Europeans was the first to take over. No, they had actually got the crumbs of the whole thing. But go ahead, Mo.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is just that you take it, you read it, and then you always should cross-reference something you read against with another source. And that's where Don's book is good at. Because not only does he give you uh, what his book says, he says, here's the source material. Now go back against it.
And that is
And then like you may want to do, and that's how I would do it. And I was like, okay, now let me see who were the detractors of this source material. Let me read their side of the story.
that's
And
lifestyle
it's
right
like,
there.
then it's like,
And I'm telling you,
I'm now that I got all the information, now I'm gonna make my mind up, make my judgment.
that's what I'm doing, but that's gonna be a lifestyle for you overall because yeah, that's what I'm saying. His book is not. You could do one reading with it, like oh yeah, it's cool. But if you really want to get the information, you go to the books that he recommend. You could get them on YouTube. You can listen to it. You could go get on Amazon or PDF file on these websites. But that book would take you into like he got the information out of that book they use in this book. But if you go in that book, you get more information off of other things. I'm telling you, it's just spider web of information.
And the main thing is we have to learn how to think, not what to think.
Oh, go ahead.
I said the main thing is we have to learn how to think, not what to think. Like school takes us and it loads us up with a bunch of facts and narrative. It doesn't teach us how to think, critically. It's just like these are the facts. You know what I'm saying? Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. You came here, you know what I'm saying, 1776, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Civil rights movement. And now here you are. It's like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? They just give you pure narrative, but they don't tell you how to be, you know what I'm saying, investigate and cross-reference and validate, you know what I'm saying, sources and that kind of thing. If you're into that kind of thing, if you're not, I understand, but if you want to be a thinker, you had to learn how to think, not what to think.
Exactly, and that's for many scenarios. So for we going back in that live with Bobby Cash when he was talking about the system is oppressed about us and how we identify ourselves and now make a disadvantage of us in this system. His ideology aligned with this book, Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. I know many of y'all know who this is. This brother right here. You know Mo?
Of course, of course.
Yeah, I need to get that book Powernomics, but I still got to go through this book. I feel like Theodore Roosevelt. You know how you got like 10 books and he just go read a couple pages of that, take notes of that, and go to the other book. You know what I'm saying?
But that's learning how to think, not what to think. You see what I'm saying? Like you're like, okay, let me take, you know what I'm saying, take a nugget of this. Oh, that's an interesting term. Let me highlight that. Let me go and look this up. Okay, let me read up on that term. Let me, it's not like a lot of times people just want to read a book and then they could come on alive and just regurgitate a bunch of facts.
Nah, I
And
can't
it's
do
like,
that.
have you validated that? Have you weighed it out? It's just, and that's what me and Don both was talking about. Like when you start talking to people and you can tell what they're going to say because all they do is regurgitate what they've learned. They don't think critically. They don't put. And that's what I was saying about if you think about it, if the out of Africa theory, if you think about it critically, what they're saying is everybody started in Africa, right? White people headed east. They went up through Europe, up through Asia, around Asia, come down through Alaska, Canada, into the United States, and that's how we have Native Americans. But then they'll say, well, the people that headed west was the Africans, or us, or however you want to say it, so-called black people, and they got stuck on the west coast of Africa until they got picked up by the same white people that came out of the east and picked them up and brought them to America. Really?
That's not really true. Oh yeah, you saying that? Oh, because I was
No, what
about
I'm
to pull his
saying, that's
book
the
out.
narrative.
Yeah, that's false. I got you saying yeah.
How does that make sense? Make that make sense.
That don't make no sense at all. That's what I'm saying. It's like when you start looking for information on that, it'll kind of fill in them voids, them gaps that you have. It'll keep you. So what he's talking about with that, how far are you going back with? Are you coming back with how are we talking species or are we talking race?
Well, what I'm saying is that's how they said that everybody came out of Africa. That's
Oh,
their theory. They said all civilization began in Africa, and then everybody left from there and went across the world. That's their narrative. And if you want to believe that narrative and say black people never made it to America until we were brought here on slave ships, you're saying that we weren't smart enough to figure out how to get from the west coast of Africa to the east coast of America. That's what they're saying. which is, I'm saying, okay, if that's what you want to say.
Yeah, we get you on Hill. He was just using as a reference, Hill. That's okay.
What
Hill,
he say? What he say?
he's saying not true, not true, not true. Research.
Oh
Roosevelt,
no, what
yeah.
I'm saying, I'm making the case for what he's saying not true. If you think about it critically, it's like
Yeah.
that makes no sense. And then you trying to tell me that North America was the only place that didn't have highly melanated people on it? Is that what you're saying? Not him, but is that what the narrative is? Come on, knock it off.
Fallen things mess with us.
That's why I appreciate that brother Dan Calloway's work. You know what I'm saying? Like he actually does put the facts in
You
and
said
does the
Dan
work.
Calloway?
Yeah. And what he's pushing is not pushing, but what his theory is that it was a lot of people here, black people in North America, native to North America.
Is this so?
Yeah, that's him.
Did he talk about? Oh, actually, yeah, that was before the Black Seminole Indians, though. When the Gullah Wars and stuff, he goes real
Yeah.
deep. He goes deeper than that. I see just now. So he got the facts with it too. I gotta subscribe to him.
And like I said, I'm not endorsing everything that but I appreciate somebody that puts the work in and that, you know what I'm saying, does scholarly work and just don't come up with pseudoscience.
And can you explain to those signs? Can you like use an example of that? Because I be hearing that a lot, and I don't know literally what.
Well, pseudoscience is like, you know what I'm saying, pseudo means fake or false. So it means like false science.
Mm. So like false signs, like hold on, even when they use it in a good term, let me go and see if I can pull up that lady. What's that lady name?
Well, because like pseudoscience would be like black people are less intelligent than other people.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh no, say again.
I said pseudoscience is like how they try to use science to say black people are less intelligent than other people.
Oh, or that Darwinism thing too.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay, I get it now. I can't. They believe that though. But I mean, that. They just be like, hey, he's a scholar, scientist, whatever the hell. Like the Webster Dictionary too. It's crazy. It's just sources that we like. We still gotta have that open mind approach still with everything though.
Mm-hmm.
Can't take everything for granted. We gotta look at stuff.
What Denzel say in Training Day is not what you know, is what you can prove, Jake.
Oh, that was deep right there. That was deep. That's me.
It's not what you know, is what you can prove.
Go more deep into that though, please.
Now, it is what it is. I can sit here and say something to you, but if I can't prove it, that's like what 2 + 2. A lot of people just know it equals 4 because they've been told it equals 4, but they can't prove it. It's like, how do you prove it? The way you prove it is 4 - 2 = 2.
So, for example, another one. The sooner you can match what's in your head with what's going on in the real world, the better you're going to feel. And this is another one right here. He was talking about 2 + 2 = 5. Yeah, trolling.
Yeah, but that's where they're getting to, because if everybody just regurgitates, they can easily change 2 + 2 = 5.
Or 1 + 1 = 11. Let me stop.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to tell you, but all I would say, man, we don't have to get that deep. I know a lot of people don't want to get that deep, I get it. But if it impacts your life, it's worth learning it or worth knowing it. If it don't apply, let it fly.
That's pretty much what, because it's crazy you pulling Training Day up, and I'm looking at all these quotes that was in this damn movie. To protect the sheep, you gotta catch the wolf, and it takes a wolf to catch a wolf.
Yep. Yeah, that's one of my favorite quotes in the movie. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
He has that too. Yeah, Denzel played that role. I ain't gonna lie to
But
you.
that's how court works, right? A court only
Yeah,
wants to know what you can prove, and what you prove is with evidence. And it's not like hearsay. That doesn't work.
and what do you want to make some money or you want to watch the news?
But yeah, a lot of times people, man, they just get so caught up in the everyday stories that they don't even make time for themselves and self-improvement. Any other questions before we roll out of here?
I don't even think. I just think this live, But we about to wrap this up. Ayo is going live as we speak right now. I think he still is. If I'm not, he's still up there. So definitely, if y'all want to get some, dang, I get a lot of notifications about my videos. That's crazy. But yeah, Ayo live over there. Y'all gotta check that out. So y'all can
Take the party
transition.
over there if you still want to party.
It's that party over there, y'all. I appreciate y'all for stopping by over here. Sierra, you came late. Oh, I ain't meant to expose you, but yeah, it's all good. Appreciate you, Hill, and appreciate Tabby trolling. Shouts out. Let me keep going. Armina Beats and damn, what was the other one? Superstar Doe. And there was another one. Give me one second. I want to get that shout. Random team, he rock with you. There was another person. Dang, I can't remember the name. I'm gonna keep strolling and see if I can find them. Damn, I can't really find it. It was dang man, my mind just went blank. But hopefully next time I'll be able to give him that shout out. Dang, I feel so bad. Oh yeah, I had kind of called you out, Sierra. Dang, what was his name? It was something Slay Stormy. Yeah, Stormy. That's what his name is. Stormy. Shout out to Stormy. All right. So yeah, you got
Hey,
anything to
I
say?
don't know Sierra's screen name, but there was a Sierra in my live chat last night too. I don't know. I don't want to
She said
dox
she
her.
she said she had watched your live. She watched some of it and it was informative.
I thought that was her. I could tell by the comment. I could tell by how people type too.
Exactly. See, now you're doing visual intelligence. That's something that Bobby Cash was reading upon and got my interest too. Visual intelligence. So if when we get off, just make sure I look up visual intelligence and y'all see what we're talking about. So appreciate y'all for stopping by after party at 8 house. Yeah, that was her. See.
See, all right. That's why I thought so. Welcome to the Facts family. And look, I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna say this. I know Grump ain't gonna say it. Hey man, y'all look out for young Grump. He bringing great content to y'all. You know what I'm saying? YouTube ain't. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Ain't giving that man his value. So y'all make sure y'all give him some value for value. He bringing y'all great content. So y'all make sure y'all show love back.
That's much appreciated. Yeah, you're right. Because I definitely take your advice on what you said earlier. I was about to do that, but I was like, nah, I ain't gonna do that no more. And ain't no need to be it's good to be the montage, but yeah, value for value thing. So I appreciate you for saying that.
It's good to have the option. Don't get me wrong. It's good to have the option.
Yeah,
But you know what I'm saying?
I just rather have people to watch this live and then they ain't want no commercials to come in and all that. So I'm just gonna leave that alone. Yeah. Value for value. Y'all know where to support that. I appreciate y'all, man. So we out.
All right, peace.